You guys crack me up. Guys, welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Late night edition, apparently. But we will allow it. The World Cup and all that, push everything. Yeah. We'll be back to normal at some point. Guys, welcome in. We have a nice show lined up for you today. We have a lot of fun items to discuss and a little Easter egg here that we will drop later in the program. I don't know if I'm going to. I've got a clip I wanted to play, but I don't know if I'm going to end up playing it at the end of the show or not. It's somebody guessed white hoodie. It's white enough, right? I mean, it's kind of whitish. But let me say something here. We've had my open is going to hit on this, but I want to say it outright. We got to focus, guys. We got to focus. The prosecution had a disastrous week last week. We will go over that in the open, how terrible it was. Just how terrible it was and how horrific the headline should have been if this was an honest media, an honest news environment, and an honest case, a normal case. We would have absolutely, without a doubt, that's all people would have been focusing on is, you guys brought this case with that evidence? But instead, we were kind of flooded with an avalanche of BS, and we'll talk about it. We'll go through some of it. But it didn't just end at the end of last week. This week, they've uncapped an avalanche of more BS, and we're going to get to that as well. We also have a treasure trove of Lance Twiggs' social media posts to go over. Is he the person we think he is, or is he worse, or is he better? We'll find out. You guys will make your own determination there. I also want to get into a timeline of sorts, the mortuary timeline. We all saw the video, the creepy video where she's apparently, allegedly mic'd up Erika leaning over the casket, rubbing all over Charlie's dead body, whispering, sweet. It was creepy and weird. I'm telling you right now, if I'm ever over a casket of a loved one, mic'd up, you guys are free to never watch me again. You can write me off. I'll turn the show off, delete the channel, and go on with my life, because that would be the end of me. That would be the end of my self-respect, and I would be done. It raises the question of, why would you release something like that? That's not something normal people do. In fact, I've never seen it before in my life. We've all seen the video. We've seen the pictures. Tonight, we'll drill down on the timeline leading up to that picture and that video, because we now know where that video was taken. And we know just how tight the timeline was to get that picture taken. And we're going to ask a very important question after we go through it all. And so we'll get going on that in a little bit. That is one of the weirdest stories I've ever encountered. I still can't get over how weird it is, and I can't get over the fact that everyone around her ignores it and acts like that's normal. That is not normal behavior. Period. End of story. You will never see a self-respecting person do that ever again. That's the last time, hopefully, you'll ever see it. But I do want to get into the opening right away, because I don't want the show to get too long. It is late. So let me dig right into the open. Haven't done that in a while. This is your opening statement. There's a media strategy. It's been used for decades to hide uncomfortable truths. It's a strategy known as flooding the zone. Flooding the zone is a deliberate tactic. It's not something that happens accidentally. It's designed for a particular purpose. It is to overwhelm the information environment with such high volume of misleading and contradictory content that it becomes nearly impossible for any kind of reporter or investigator to focus on any single issue long enough to uncover what they're trying to keep hidden. Bad faith actors use this. Bad faith actors flood the zone, and they flood it with bad information, and they do it again to hide the truth. It exploits fundamental limitations in human attention. We just are not made as, historically, humans are made to kind of sit around and do nothing. This thing we all carry around with us all day, every day, that is new to the human experiment. Your great-grandparents did not stay occupied all the time. They didn't follow the news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They didn't have social media to interact with. They spent a lot of time watching the sun. Sometimes they watched it come up. Sometimes they watched it go down. Sometimes they just sat outside in the midday and watched it overhead. And they just watched cows walk around and birds fly. And they just sort of observed. Well, we don't live in that world anymore. We live in the world of news cycles and social media. And those algorithms reward engagement much more than they reward accuracy. So flooding the zone creates this constant barrage of information. And it ultimately overloads and overwhelms people, no matter how motivated you are, you can only process so much information. So when the zone gets flooded, your scrutiny diffuses. The corrections that sometimes arrive, they arrive too late. They get lost in the noise. And people grow cynical. And the ultimate effect is often a hidden truth. The person with a good lead or who's over the target, they're now competing in a zone flooded with nonsense. And anyone who falls for this nonsensical zone flooding is then discredited by the very people who floated the false story in the first place. In other words, someone will float a false story, a knowingly false story. They'll wait for people to pick up on it. And then when they report it, they'll say, nope, that's wrong. You're an idiot. You don't listen to anything that guy says. He's an idiot. This phrase gained prominence by a guy named Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, of course, was Donald Trump's former chief strategist. He, before that, was the head of Breitbart News. And in a 2018 conversation with a journalist named Michael Lewis, he explained his approach to dealing with the press. He said, Democrats don't matter. The real opposition is the media. And the way to deal with them is to flood the zone with doo-doo. Except he didn't say doo-doo. He said the S word. But we try to keep it clean here, family friendly. But Bannon viewed the media as the primary obstacle to Trump's agenda. So rather than engaging with them, rather than engaging in traditional debate or persuasion, rather than trying to explain your position, Bannon's goal was just to overwhelm journalists. And he overwhelmed them with so many stories, so many claims, so many distractions, many of them false, that they couldn't effectively scrutinize or contextualize anything the Trump administration was doing in the first 4 years. Bannon elaborated on related ideas, not particularly flooding the zone, but related ideas in other interviews. And he said the media can only focus on one thing at a time. So you hit them with multiple simultaneous developments, many of them false. And it will allow the desired agenda items that the Trump administration wanted to advance. It would allow those to advance because the opponents and the reporters were reactive. They were scattered. They were fact-checking. Trump's 2016 campaign and his first presidency was a portrait in flooding the zone. There was a relentless stream of tweets. He would do rallies where he would just say things. He would do policy announcements, things that he never intended to actually do, and just to create controversy. And this strategy has been associated with other people. He's not the only one to have done it. There have been other figures, other movements, other leaders that deploy these high-volume communication styles, often mixed with garbage. Flooding the zone builds on older propaganda techniques. There was the Russian fire hose of falsehood model that they used during the Cold War. They would deploy rapid, high volume, often contradictory messaging, and it was designed to confuse rather than persuade. No one in the world knew what the hell was going on in Russia. So this isn't exactly like traditional propaganda, because traditional propaganda pushes a single coherent story, even if it's false, and it just pushes it and rams it down your throat. Flooding the zone mixes truths, half-truths, exaggerations, falsehoods, and it just throws it all out there. And it overwhelms the investigators who are trying to figure out what's the true story here. Which part should we follow? In the mix itself, the mix of truths and half-truths and exaggerations and falsehoods, it's deliberate. It complicates the fact-checking process. It creates plausible deniability. And it generates endless content for discussion, much of it false. It operates through a volume, speed, and repetition cycle. The sheer quantity forces media outlets to allocate their very limited resources, and they do it across many, many stories. And what it results in is shallower overall coverage. You can't really go deep on any of it. Social media has amplified this, and it's amplified it dramatically, frankly, because algorithms prioritize new or emotional or novel or controversial content. And as a result, any provocative claim is going to spread quickly, and it doesn't matter if it's right. So coordinated, organic amplification by supporters actually will boost the reach. And what you get is an information environment where yesterday's major story that probably has some merit that we should be digging into is now displaced by today's new controversy. And we don't have an opportunity to give full context or verification to yesterday's story. This is a manufactured confusion. It's by design. Some people call it an epistemic crisis. But it's a state where competing narratives make it hard to establish what's true. And rather than convince everyone of a specific falsehood, the strategy is designed specifically to foster skepticism. It wants the reader to say, who knows what's true anymore? It's cynicism, and that cynicism benefits those who are advancing the story. It benefits those who are trying to hide a truth. It reduces the pressure for accountability. But it does it through distraction. It does it through dilution rather than direct suppression. They don't silence you. They just confuse you. They confuse your audience. Because when the attention's scattered over these dozens of claims, hundreds of claims, many of them sounding quite outrageous, you don't have time for serious investigation. You don't have time to look into specific misconduct. You don't have time to look into corruption. All those things receive less sustained focus because those things sometimes are boring. They're tedious. You have to unpack them over a long period of time. A scandal might dominate the news coverage for weeks in a slow information environment, but it gets buried in this new environment of flooding the zone. Public fatigue sets in. A lot of people just disengage entirely. They say, I'm tired of that story. It's too much going on. I can't follow it. Or they retreat, more commonly, they retreat into kind of camps. Well, I'm for this. I'm against that. And they just fight over the little nuances that may or may not even be true. They're echo chambers. But one of the most potent secondary effects is that it creates this really fertile ground for attacking the credibility of the people investigating. And this is by design. It forces journalists and investigators into a reactive, high-speed mode where mistakes just frankly become more likely. And not only that, precious time is lost because you have to fact-check every lead. You have to fact-check every story, and you have to investigate every wild goose chase that comes down the pike. I spent a lot of time the last couple of days fact-checking a lead that turned out to be a wild goose chase. Makes you wonder if the person was sent to plant a false story so that we would look foolish if we reported it. When facts later clarify this falsehood, the report needs some kind of correction or retraction, that becomes ammunition. They highlight these errors. They frame them as evidence that that person can't be trusted. Everyone opposing that the narrative is biased, they're incompetent, they're deliberately misleading, they're evil, they're crazy. It's pretty effective. And it's effective because the flood itself generates the conditions for those very errors. These rapid claims, they may be reported. And you can add your necessary caveat. Hey, we only have this on one source. We're checking into it. We're looking at it. But the volume makes it harder for every story to receive the proper investigation and the proper contextual follow-up. So if you make a correction days or weeks later, people can't connect it to the original story. You forget about it. And it's, instead of being framed as a journalistic standard of practice, hey, if you get something wrong, you correct it. It's framed as, hey, he admitted he lied. He was wrong. Well, okay. I got it wrong. Not me in particular, but the person with the story. It turns the media's own norms against itself. You have these traditional journalistic values, and they're competing with this need for speed. The accuracy and speed, they sometimes come into conflict. So speed increases rather, and the verification capacity decreases. But not content with just flooding the zone with planted stories or misinformation, zone flooders often attack the investigators themselves rather than contending with the information that the investigators are covering. You don't have an answer for where you've been? Well, order up some attacks saying you're being stalked and harassed. You got investigators that are too close to the truth. Maybe they're covering a topic particularly well. They're over the target. Send in a barrage of attacks calling them crazy or evil. Dig up something from 15 years ago and float, and then you spend your time. You can either fight it or you can ignore it. Those are your options. It's a powerful feedback loop that gets created. You get diminished trust in the reporting, and it makes it easier to dismiss the coverage of the actual truths that the flood is meant to obscure. Social media lowers the barrier for entry, and it lowers the barrier for this type of counterattack. Anybody can open 100 X accounts and post 100 times a day on each account. Viral posts, memes can spotlight mistakes, and they don't have any context or counter evidence. So the original flood ensures there's always new material to report on. It keeps the news cycle going. Just this week, we've seen several examples of flooding the zone, and I'm convinced it's coming from the bad guys. Or those guys on the other side. Let's not say bad guys. You remember Friday when the hearing was over? Social media influencers filed out of the preliminary hearing after what was a disastrous week for the prosecution. It was a disastrous week. We were promised the parents were going to testify against Tyler Robinson. They did not. We were promised definitive proof. It was Tyler Robinson, and he took the shot, and we have it on video. We were given muddier footage than most Bigfoot sightings. There was the woman who provided the doorbell camera footage of what, on its face, appeared to be a gray Dodge Challenger pulling up to her house shortly before 1 a.m. Well, turns out she gave a statement that a bald man was driving. Oh, and he had 3 passengers on board. We learned Tyler Robinson drove onto campus, allegedly, around 8:30. But then he sat in his car for almost an hour before getting out and walking around. Normally, that might not be very weird, except that when he got out of his car, finally, he walked to the venue and met with a representative from TPUSA, and that's weird. That's weird. It makes you wonder if he was waiting on the representative from TPUSA. That's why he sat in his car for an hour. He got there too early. If he's like me, he gets everywhere way too early. I'm one of those people that shows up at the airport like 3 hours early. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. That's my life philosophy. But it's weird. And then he leaves campus. Okay, well, he comes back to campus like 30 minutes later. Why? To eat at Chick-fil-A in the student center, allegedly. On camera, all over the place. Fingerprints, DNA, receipts. It's also weird. So rather than the open and shut case we were promised, we got confessions through an alleged transferee, and we got them by way of unauthenticated pictures on his broken phone. And he testified about it on video, and his mouth wasn't moving at times, but his voice was still going. It was very strange. There were no GPS locations. There were no eyewitness sightings. There were no license plate locations. There wasn't even one single clear picture of his face on a massively surveilled campus over the course of an entire day. His alleged lover, even he said he couldn't definitively identify him when he was shown pictures. In other words, we got nothing. We got nothing. It was a complete and total disaster. I knew it, you knew it, and trust me, the people on the other side knew it too. But when those influencers filed out of the courtroom Friday, they all gave essentially the exact same statement. Oh, we saw video. It was in crystal clear 4K HD. It puts this case to bed. Open and shut. Conveniently, that video wasn't shown to the public. But they were super double pinky swearing that it was what they saw. And their reports went viral. Traditional news, cable news, high-profile influencers, even the president's own namesake son, all repeated the lie that they had seen definitive 4K HD proof that it was Tyler Robinson and he was on the roof and they saw him pull the trigger. We only know it's a lie because the social media influencers weren't the only people in the courtroom. There were other smaller content creators there. There were media professionals in that courtroom. And they compared what they saw to a blob, a blurry blob at that. But it didn't matter. The zone was flooded. The community notes on social media came too late. Most news stations never corrected the record. They never gave air to the other side of the story. And so for many not following the case very closely, they walked away believing there was crystal clear video shown. They were wrong, but that's what they believe. Then came word this week that Tyler Robinson and Nick Shirley, of all people, are related. They're not related, for what it's worth. It's gone viral today for some reason. There's no word, of course, why it would matter anyway. Nick Shirley's not part of the story. He's not alleged to have done anything at all, really. He's just an independent journalist, a citizen journalist. But for some reason, all over the internet today, people started spreading this false relationship, and they did it at viral speed. And what makes it even weirder is that this exact story popped up for a few days back in the middle of May. It was 2 months ago. It spread for a few days, and then it died out. Why did it die out? It wasn't true. It wasn't true in May. It's not true today. But it's still actively spreading as we sit here today. And people are spending time on it when they should be investigating other things. They aren't the only viral stories that have been reported. If you go way back in time, you remember the guy in the white shirt who pumped his hands a couple times? People went crazy on that. They spent weeks talking about this guy. I still hear people bring up this guy as if you can accurately, fire a firearm while violently pumping your hands. That's not how guns work. There was the guy under the Hall of Flags who was adjusting his hat and squeezed his hand for some reason. There were weeks of investigation into that guy, and someone finally got clear footage and his hand was empty. There are a lot of stories like this have popped up in the last 10 months, just in the last day or two. People are circulating pictures of Erika's stepbrother, and they're trying to say he could have been one of the guys on campus or maybe one of the guys on the roof. It's very obvious that he's not one of them. First, he's way too fit. The guy's jacked. But second, why on earth would anyone risk? Why would anyone risk tasking someone that close to Erika to pull off an op like this? Guys, it's zone flooding. All of these things are zone flooding. The more time you spend investigating the trapdoor theory, random people in the audience moving around, that's more time you cannot spend on parts of the case that actually need to be investigated. Like, where were the key players in the days leading up to and on the day of September 10th? Were they where they claim they were? Those things should be able to be proven. Can a 30-06 rifle damage be limited, really, in the way we saw? A lot of people think the answer is no. I know Valhalla got word through a text exchange that he's actually doing a really cool experiment on that exact issue. We'll get to that later. No, we won't get to it later. You guys will see that later when he does it. Was that really Tyler Robinson on campus? And where did he go? After he left campus, where did he go? Could he have been where he was alleged to be? Why did Charlie's shirt move like it did? I mean, we have strong motive to look into these things. We need to ask who had strong motive to remove Charlie Kirk from Earth. And why can't anyone recreate anything remotely close to what happened with Charlie's shirt, his neck, his head, the fact that he absorbed 2,000 or 3,000 pounds of foot-pounds of force and just stayed seated upright? Can anyone remotely recreate any of that using the type of round that was allegedly used? These are the types of questions that will solve the case. The zone flooding is not going to stop. If anything, it's going to get worse now that we've seen what a disaster the prosecution has for a case. So keep your eyes on the prize. Stay focused. The more they flood the zone, the closer we are to the truth. I can assure you that. The closer we are to the truth. And that is your opening statement. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I want to get into the timeline. Here real quick, because we have several videos that we can begin to use to put Charlie's body. I mean, I hate to be so crass, but it's what it is. We can begin to put Charlie's body in particular places at particular times. For example, I have footage here of when Charlie was leaving Timpanogos Hospital in Orem, Utah. And I can tell you what time this video was taken. It was around 8 o'clock at night, give or take. And I'll show you the video here. We've watched it before. I'm going to turn the sound off because I want to talk over it because I blab a lot. That was a joke. If you nodded your head in agreement, go to confession. All right, here we go. Here is the video. This is Charlie's body leaving the hospital. That's Timpanogos Regional Hospital. They've got a line of cars lined up ready to take him away. It's 8 o'clock at night. There goes the first police car. They had a police escort. I don't blame them. It's a high-profile event. Look how many people are standing around just to watch a minivan leave. I mean, it's pretty impressive. This was, I think, a couple of minutes maybe before 8 o'clock. I'll fast forward through it a little bit so we can get to the cars themselves leaving. But there they go. You can see all these cars pulling out. You can see all these people walking around. And they're headed to the medical examiner's office. They're leaving Timpanogos in Orem, Utah, and they're heading to Salt Lake City. That's about, give or take, a 45-minute drive, maybe an hour, give or take. So they're heading that way. Well, that puts him there no earlier, really, than 9 o'clock. Well, once you get there, you got to get the body out of the car. I hate to sound crass saying body, but I mean, it's what it is. You got to get him out of the car. You got to get him into the medical examiner's office. You got to get him prepped. Most of the time, I looked at the policies in Utah. Most of the time, they do not do medical examinations outside of business hours or weekends. Well, if he leaves Wednesday night at 8 p.m. in Timpanogos and Orem and he doesn't arrive in Salt Lake City till 9, that's outside of business hours. But let's just say they decided to do a middle of the night examination. How long does an examination last? Best case guess I can get on a typical gunshot wound victim is around 2 to 4 hours. 2 to 4 hours from start to finish. That's the examination. That's not prepping the body back. I don't know if you've seen an autopsy. They're pretty wild. You got to put things back together. Then you got to put things back together, and then he would be ready to go. Typically, bodies aren't released immediately after the examination. They're put back in the morgue at the medical examiner's office where they stay for another 24 to 48 hours while the paperwork processes and they're released. But when you have the Vice President of the United States on his way in, things change. Things change, right? You get treated differently. We talk about two systems of justice. We talk about two systems. There's two systems here because when you have that kind of an attention, you might get a middle of the night medical examination. You might get released the same day. And we know that he was released before 5:04 a.m. We know that for a fact because we have original reporting to that effect. I will show you that now. Because at 5:04 a.m., we have a newscast that had somebody positioned outside the medical examiner's office. We assume they didn't arrive exactly at 5:04 and immediately go on air.
This morning, we are told Charlie Kirk's body is at the medical examiner's office here in the Salt Lake Valley. We do have a crew at the building, and we'll let you know if there are any developments there.
KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson was on the scene at UVU shortly after the shooting took place, and he caught up with Henry Dells. That was the first person who asked Charlie Kirk a question.
And we don't need to listen to the whole thing. I am so glad they did not have cameras in the studio when I did talk radio because I would not have been ready like that. I usually look like a bum. I still look like a bum, even though there's cameras, but I at least take a shower before I go on. These guys are ready to go at 5 a.m. I have no idea what time they get up, what time they get to the studio, what time they prep a show. This is crazy. I'm glad I remember the 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. crew where I worked. They did not look like that. They were there in their PJs. Because we didn't have cameras in there. But time changes. You got to adjust. The 5:04 a.m., they had people on site. And guess what? Another reporter was sitting outside at 10 a.m. So there were people there all morning. 5 a.m., 10 a.m. These people stayed here from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Yeah, Brian, it's really quiet out here right now. It seems like work has left for the day, and it's been quiet since this morning. We've been here since 10 o'clock, and we haven't seen any action. So we don't know how long Charlie Kirk's body was here at the medical examiner's office.
They were there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and saw nothing. They saw nothing, which means if the 5 a.m. crew didn't see him and they were there for 4 hours, and these guys didn't see him and they were there all day, he had to be gone before 5 a.m. That seems rushed. For a complete medical examination to take place between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m., that's only 8 hours. That seems awfully rushed. You've got to get the body in. You got to get it prepped for the examination. You have to do the examination. It's not like a 1 minute deal. Like that takes time in and of itself. Then you have to do the examination. That could take upwards of 4 hours or more. Then you got to put everything back together, get him cleaned up, and get him back into whatever you're going to transport him in. You got to move the body back to the parking lot. You got to get him loaded up. You got to drive away. All that had to be done by like 4:30. When was there time to do an accurate medical examination? What happened? There were rumors early on that there was no autopsy done. Well, I know there's a medical examination. I know there's a report, but how? That seems like the timeline doesn't work. Nevertheless, I will accept on its face that it happened. I will accept that at some point before 5 a.m., 4:30 really, he was transported to his to the mortuary that was going to prepare his body. We know where it went. I'll show you that in a second. And we know because of a receipt, we know what time, or we know the earliest that the Erika Kirk party could have possibly left to go see him. You guys see this email pop up from time to time. Don't email that. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com if you need to email it. I spend like the first 30 minutes of my day blocking everybody who emailed that email. Don't email that. I use that and I can't have it be full. So we've got this order placed at September 11th. We've got all these different things. I don't care what they bought. I'm not that kind of person. It doesn't really bother me. But there was a receipt that went with this, and the receipt said that it was at 11:10 a.m. that the order was placed. Well, if you're doing a pickup order and it's 11:10, let's just assume it's the greatest aloe in the history of the world, and that they had everything ready in 5 minutes for you to pick up. So you place the order 11:10, 11:15. We'll call it that. You got to, after you pick up your order, you got to drive back to the hotel. You got to put your order on because these are the clothes these people were seen in. We can compare what they were wearing later in the day to that order, and we can see it. We know those are the clothes they were wearing. And so they couldn't have left the hotel. I mean, let's say that the hotel was 10 minutes away, 10-minute walk, 10-minute drive, whatever. 5-minute curbside pick. I don't know, man. Just the fastest aloe in the history of mankind. What's the earliest they could have left the hotel? Noon? Maybe. I might even argue like 12:30 or 1, but let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it's noonish. Here we have the picture. Let me see if I can. Actually, we didn't fix that picture, Daisy. The casket picture. Okay, you have it. I'll wait a second to show it. We have a picture of Erika Kirk draped over the casket. And we were initially told that this picture was taken at a different funeral home. We didn't know if this was taken in Arizona. We didn't know if this was taken in Utah. We had no idea, new context for this. This picture was not released until after Erika gave her speech on September 12th. And so there was really no idea where the picture was taken. We had no idea what funeral home it was. He was at a funeral home in Utah because he left the medical examiner's office and went to a funeral home, but we didn't know which one. Then we know he went to Air Force 2 and went back to Arizona to a different funeral home. We did know which one that was because we had pictures of it pulling in. So we were able to look at the interior of the funeral home where it pulled into and realize that's not the same funeral home where the picture took place. So those pictures weren't in Arizona. They couldn't have been, I don't think, unless they have some room that they don't show on their internet and it looks exactly like a room we found in Utah because we dug around this is the level of research Daisy does. We dug around all of the funeral homes in the area. Luckily for us, they have different furniture, different carpet, different trimmings on the walls, different paneling. And we were finally able to figure out which room this picture was taken in. It was not an easy process. The amount of work that goes into this program sometimes. But we were able to figure it out. And we found the room. It's this room here. This is the room where the picture was taken. And we know because there's paneling on the wall consistent with what we saw. We saw these lamps, these little tri-lamps here. And we saw this carpet. It's a strangely colored. The carpet reminds me of the girl's dress. You couldn't tell if it was white or blue. Like, was it blue and black or white and gold? And everybody argued about it. That's what the carpet reminds me of. And so I hesitate to tell you this is blue and gold carpet because you guys may be seeing white and black or something. I don't know. But it's mystery dress colored carpet with a mystery pattern of some sort. But we were able to, by looking at dadgum near every funeral home website in Utah, figure out that this was the room. It had to be because we ruled out all the others. Someone said it looks gray. Okay, see, I try, guys. I try to be accurate, and I can't be accurate when they put, someone says they see white and black. I'm telling you, when they put mystery dress colored carpet in there, I can't accurately describe it, but we were able to find the picture. We were able to find the room. And by finding the room, we're able to map out how long it would take to get from the medical examiner's office to that funeral home. More importantly, we're able to find out how long it would take to get from that funeral home back to the airport because we have all of that timeline. Here is the picture, just in case you don't believe me that this was the same funeral home. Tell me this is not the same place. It absolutely is the same place. Those are the tri-lamps. That's the paneled wall. And there is your mystery colored carpet. And that's the aloe outfit. So we know it was after the aloe trip. So it's sometime after, say they left the hotel at noon, hour or so to get there. So it's after 1. I would maybe argue it's even after 2, but that would be me being conservative on the timeline. I'll be very liberal and give them the benefit of the doubt. That picture was taken at that room. And at first I didn't think much about it until we laid out the timeline. Because if the earliest arrival time, we'll call it 1:30. If the earliest arrival time was 1:30, do you know what time Air Force Two landed at Salt Lake City? Air Force Two landed in Salt Lake City at 2:24. It's an hour away. So if you get to the funeral home at 1:30 and the Vice President of the United States lands an hour away, an hour later, you would have to leave almost immediately to get there by 2:30. Well, they didn't get there at 2:30. They got there, we're guessing, around 3:30 based on the pictures and everything else we're able to find. Here's a picture of Charlie Kirk and a hearse arriving at the Salt Lake City airport where Air Force Two was. And we know now that it's the right funeral home. Goff 01 will tell us it's Goff. And trust me, it's the Goff Draper branch of the funeral home. I can just tell you without a doubt, I'm confident that's where it was. The Goff Funeral Home Draper branch. And again, you've got to, after the photo op, you've got to close the casket. You've got to get it ready to move. You've got to bring in the little wheelie thing. You got to put him on the little wheelie thing. You got to wheel him through the funeral home. You got to wheel him through the garage. You got to load him up into the car. You got to lock the casket in place. You got to shut the doors. You got to get your group in a line. I mean, this stuff takes time. This stuff takes time. It's not like you wouldn't think, run in, do a photo op for 3 minutes, and then like immediately, all right, let's pack it up. Let's go. We did our photo op. Get out of here. Come on. But when you look at the timeline, it starts to look like that. If the earliest they could have possibly arrived was around 1:30, and that's, again, I mean, it's a pretty conservative estimate. And then they would have had to leave by 2:30 in order to get to the airport on time. And it's not like it takes 1 minute to pack up the body and get it into the hearse. How long was she sitting? How long could she possibly have been there? 30 minutes, 45 minutes tops? It's interesting because Charlie was in a suit. And we know that he didn't take a suit to Utah. He was never seen in a suit. Why would he take a suit unless he was planning to have a funeral, right? I mean, if you catch me in a suit, I may not even be at a funeral because sometimes I don't wear suits to funeral. I'm giving a speech, perhaps at a wedding, maybe at a funeral. I don't know. And most people are that way. And he was not wearing a suit that day. If you watch his interview in the morning with Andrew Smith at the Restaurantology event, he's not in a suit. If you watch the Orem, Utah event at UVU, also not in a suit. Notice they don't live there. So it's not like someone went and ran home and grabbed one for him real fast. That wouldn't make sense either, right? I mean, it's not his suit. Can't be his suit. And if you look at the picture, and I'm not going to show it because it does show his body, and there's really, at this point in the investigation, really no reason to keep showing his body. But if you look at the picture and you look at the video, that's not a new suit. They didn't go buy a suit. And it's certainly not a new tie, nor is it a tie, frankly, I think Charlie would wear. It looks like they borrowed clothes, if I'm being honest. It looks to me like they borrowed clothes. I'm open to correction if somebody wants to say, no. Tyler Boyer ran home and grabbed a suit in the chaos of the moment, just absolutely knew, without a doubt, 100%, he was going to need a suit for a photo op at the. But I mean, why would you even think about that? Because you know you're going to bring him back to Arizona to bury him. Why would you even think you need a suit? So who'd you borrow a suit from? I'm telling you, I'm confident in this, by the way. I mean, there's lint all over it. It's just not a new suit, guys. That is not a suit they just bought. That was put together in a rush. And it was unnecessary. If Erika wants to spend a few minutes with him saying goodbye, he doesn't have to be in a suit. She saw him in the hospital in his condition he was in there. He wasn't wearing a suit. You know, you could put something on him and if she wants to spend a few moments, but hastily throwing a suit, it's just weird. It's just weird. And again, the timeline is so compressed. I mean, it could have been as low as like 15 to 30 minutes, maybe an hour at most. 45 minutes or an hour is like a long, really stretching it, I think. And it leads me to believe that this was, and keep in mind, it wasn't just the picture. I'm not showing the video, but you guys saw the video. Leaning into the casket, rubbing all over the body, and whispering and hearing the fabric of either her clothes or his clothes rubbing against what appeared to me to be a microphone. I believe she was mic'd up for a photo op. And I think that is a level of weirdness that I cannot account for in this story. To be mic'd up and doing a photo op in like a really compressed short period of time and for why? He's about to be on Air Force 2. He's going to be home in an hour, 2 hours tops. Get him into that funeral home, get his suit on him, and then visit with him. It's just weird. The whole thing is just weird. I'm saying weird because that's the nicest thing I could say. I am really holding back what I want to say because I don't believe it's just weird. I believe it's cold and calculated, but I'm not going to go any further than that. Regardless, it had a very manipulative effect because when it was released after she gave her speech, which might lead one to believe that this all took place in Arizona because that's where she gave her speech and that's where his body was peacefully resting at a funeral home in Arizona. But I don't think that's true. Our investigation does not lead me to believe that's the case. I am pretty confident that is at the Goff Funeral Home in Draper, Utah. And I just believe it was a photo op. Really, really weird to rush everyone down there, do a quick photo op, and then rush back up to the Salt Lake City airport. That was not the only photo op we got that day. We had JD and Usha and Erika in Utah. This is you got the Utah state flag there in the background. So JD and Usha were there in Utah. Again, why? Why the photo ops? Why the photo ops? We, not to be outdone in wanting to post his own photo op, we had Tyler Boyer at 4:41 when all this took place like 20 minutes earlier, posting to social media the dignified transfer from the hearse to kill that because all you hear are jet sounds. But now granted, if I'm Tyler, I'll probably record this too. It's not every day the vice president of the United States is escorting your former boss. So I don't blame him for recording it, but the posting of it in the like 10 minutes later is really weird. Really weird. This whole thing just feels like a manipulation tactic. It feels like it was designed to flood the zone with emotion. It feels like it was designed to distract from the fact that something was off from the very beginning about this whole story. I want to switch gears. What we're going to cover is a little weird. And this is strange. I'll ease you into this because it's a little weird if we're being honest. We have a series of Reddit posts, and we know these are Reddit posts from Lance Twiggs because we got his username over the course of the investigation. And we have one here. This is on the Jordan Peterson subreddit. This is a subreddit for fans of Jordan Peterson. How can an average person like myself avoid perilous pitfalls such as This is not him. This is someone else. We'll get to Lance's answer in a second. This is someone else writing. How can an average person like myself avoid perilous pitfalls such as ideological entanglements when even individuals with higher moral and intellectual caliber have fallen into them? Now, notice caliber is spelled correctly here, unlike when Tyler Robinson spelled it on his text message. But we're neither here nor there, people. Here is Lance's answer. I want you to listen to this and think about what we're told of his lifestyle, what we're told of who he really was. Honestly, I think everyone's going to land in these pitfalls. It's part of being human. Doing your best to recognize and remedy that is all you can do. Keep your strongest truths close to heart and don't be easily swayed in any direction without a strong and well put together reason. This is Lance Twiggs. Even then, you'll sometimes realize the environment, friends, or communities you choose to spend time with aren't helping you grow or progress. May otherwise be pushing towards an echo chamber. Being able to take a step away and reprioritize is the best you can do. If you aren't ever in a situation you don't want to be in, chances are you never go out and meet people in general. Remember that just discussing a topic doesn't mean falling into an ideological pitfall. Keep your statements and opinions in line with each other and make your own opinions based on factual evidence you have seen or read. I think the largest pitfall anyone could fall into would be to simply take to heart the opinions they see on social media. If you don't choose a side many times will choose you. Keep yourself grounded mentally and emotionally, and don't worry yourself about being infallible. Is this the Lance Twiggs we met through all this reporting? That guy sounded pretty sane. That said 3 years ago. Guys, we've been doing this a year. That was only a couple years before all this. That sounded like Nietzsche. That sounded very sane. Not that Nietzsche was sane. I'm just saying it sounded philosophical. It sounded well written. It sounded not like the lunatic we are told Lance Twiggs was. Almost like that was an act. Almost like it was an op. Here's another Lance Twiggs post. This is again on the Jordan Peterson subreddit. Again, for those that don't know who Jordan Peterson is, not exactly loved and adored by radical leftists. Like Jordan Peterson was demonized the way Andrew Tate was, the way Joe Rogan was, the way Tucker Carlson is. These are people who are demonized for telling people you have it within yourself to be better than you are. You can always get better. You can always improve. Very motivational type of guy. Here is the headline on this. This is not his headline. This is from the Daily Wire. The post he's responding to is from the Daily Wire. AMC Theaters cancels detransitioner film following trans group's deplatforming campaign. What the story's saying is AMC Theaters, theater chain in America, had a film about a detransitioner, someone who had transitioned and were now trying to go back to the way they were before, and they canceled the film. Lance commented on it. He was not amused with the topic. He was not amused with the fighting on the topic. Instead, he said, is there an actual Jordan Peterson subreddit anywhere, one that talks about his work and discusses Dr. Peterson instead of doo-doo clickbait articles? And then someone else chimed in. You have only 4 posts here. You mostly submitted to a R drama bait subreddit. I don't know what that means. And you post on 196. Your concern trolling is noted. And then Lance. Oh, no. I've read Jordan Peterson books. Listened to lots of his YouTube lectures also. I just enjoy trolling post kinda subreddits. Lance Twiggs was a Jordan Peterson guy. A Jordan Peterson guy. Not exactly a wild lunatic political leftist. This is not who Jordan Peterson is. This is not the type of people that read his books. I've read one. It was okay. It wasn't life-changing. I wanted to know what all the hubbub was about. I think I have it on my desk over there, so on my bookshelf. It was okay. 12 Rules or something. I can't remember what it was titled. It was fine. It was not good or bad. But I would never in a million years have expected anyone reading that to be like some wackadoodle leftist, some trans furry. I just wouldn't. Now, he also was active on the trans subreddits. I want to hide who he really was. We're showing you what we found. This is from one of those, and somebody asks, what keeps you going? What stops you from dying? Do you still have hope? What do you do when you wake up and find yourself in a body that's not yours? I need to know because I'm running out of fuel right now. Well, we all know he's a nihilistic psychopath, right? Well, hold please. This is Lance Twiggs, just not terribly long ago. For me, just the overall enjoyment of different new media still being released, along with all the old stuff I haven't sifted through, gives me more than enough dopamine. Libraries feel like endless enough. Libraries feel endless enough. They're basically infinite entertainment. Beyond that, my boyfriend. The guy was an avid reader. We're told that all he did was sit around and be a psycho and play games. He was mostly found at the library, cuddled up in the nonfiction section. Philosophy, perhaps. The Jordan Peterson aisle. I'll be in philosophy. P for Peterson. Huh? This is wild stuff. This is wild stuff. Here is a Lance Twiggs post on another trans subreddit. Apparently there's more than one. This title was questions about HRT for gender fluid. And he just tells what his research has shown. You'll have to be genetically lucky enough to get good hip growth. And no, HRT will not stop facial hair from growing. It may stop you from getting more than you have, and it will slow beard growth, but I've not heard of someone completely reversing their facial hair growth solely off of HRT. This R word here, whatever that is, has been inconsistent at best from what I've read around the internet. It should stop or slow breast growth while allowing you to continue feminization. But I've read a lot more stories of people being frustrated that this drug isn't working as well as they'd hoped. And I have of people saying it went according to plan. I've not used it, so your mileage may vary. Please read the rules wiki and go through old posts. You'll probably get better answers there than waiting for new responses. Well, isn't that awfully helpful from a total psychopath? Gamer, Magic the Gathering. You know, some sort of shoot 'em up. I don't know what he played. What about his mental capacity? Was he a snowflake? Was he a snowflake? Was this the kind of guy who sat around just evil and mean and awful and just wanted people to be miserable? This guy's, I understand. I just don't know what to do. I'm being denied many opportunities because of transphobia. I just wanted to buy myself a ball of ice cream, and that's it. Not to think about my gender, but he got out of his way to make me feel sad. Then we get down to Lance. He said, we don't have more sympathy for him, but he didn't follow you out of the store and try to misgender you 3 more times because the first time wasn't enough of a reaction. You really leaned into being an a-hole just to get even. That doesn't sound like the way he's portrayed. I mean, he's basically telling people, grow up. Life's tough, man. Get a helmet if you need it. You're scared, get a dog. But grow up. It just doesn't sound to me like the type of person who would be around Tyler, and Tyler just being near a guy like this would become so radicalized that he would kill. Doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like it. In fact, this one's a little coarse. I don't think it cusses, but it's a little coarse. Here is another time he's telling somebody to suck it up, Buttercup. This is from an anarcho-capitalism subreddit. This is a hypothesis I've had. This is not him writing. This is the one he's responding to. This is some guy named Sean 10M. Hypothesis I've had, I'm pretty confident in. Nonsense like the bathroom debate, trans people in sports, and all of that drag pushing. And in general, all the screaming trans folk you see on TV or in protests at rallies. It's all stuff that conveniently creates a divide to force trans people to the left against the right, which gets radicalized to hate them. It all seems orchestrated to create an oppressed minority to help maintain the left's power while also empowering the right to maintain the binary. Now, let me just pause right here. I could not agree with this guy more. I heard this is not original to me, and I wish I could credit the person who said this. It wasn't terribly long ago. I heard someone say that this trans stuff came way out of left field recently. And you would be tempted to say, what the hell is this all about? Why is this all of a sudden being pushed? I mean, you're talking like 0.1% of the population, and all of a sudden it's like the single biggest civil rights issue to ever come down the pike. And comparing it to the fight black people had in the 60s, are you out of your mind? Like, this is totally different. And I heard the person say, it's almost as if the left, the populist left, the Bernie bros, were sort of trying to take over the Democrat Party. And they had a lot of conservatives that were looking over the fence and going, oh, economic populism, you say. That's not bad. We could get behind a guy like that. I don't agree with everything he says, but inflation is out of control and everything does seem to be getting completely too expensive, and young people can't buy homes and no one can afford health insurance and gas is too high. And what's going on in the world? How can we fix this? Well, the billionaire class got together and thought, well, we don't need this. They're on the verge of revolt. Roll out the trans. You roll them out. Have the left start pushing it. That way the mainstream left says they're killing our movement. We need to get rid of them. And the hardcore right says, we're not joining those people. And they go over to the right. It's almost as if this was happening by design. That's not original thought to me. And I did not have that thought before I heard it. So I wish I could credit the person who told me. I cannot remember who it was. It was a podcast or something I was listening to. But that's the point this guy's making. And to that, Lance says, I like how you worded this. I like how you worded this. In other words, yeah, brother or sister or brister, preach on, kid. They're trying to divide us over this issue. It's not worth dividing over. Unite. We got bigger problems on our hands than if somebody wants to wear a dress. Yeah, I agree with you, Lance. Lance is my kind of Republican. I have no idea what this guy turned into, but 2 years ago, he was all right with me, at least on that issue, at least on that post. This is not who we were sold. I cannot imagine this guy coming out. Did I miss one of the comments on there? Did he say something more than once? No, he didn't. Oh. I misresponded there. No, I mean, everything I said was what was written, but he actually was responding to this one. When they're showing a man, privates out, in demon makeup, reading to kids, they're not representing that community well. I'm not talking about the confused 13-year-old kid who wants to feel normal. They go find the worst of society just to hold up, just to own the right. And then he said, I like how you worded this. In other words, I see why he's hanging out on the Jordan Peterson page. Like, I have friends that think this way. Lots of them. This is not all that outside of the mainstream, frankly. And you can't imagine, after reading stuff like this, you can't imagine Tyler just living around a guy like this being, I should kill Charlie Kirk. No, Lance is saying the opposite every step of the way. He's saying don't get radicalized. Be grounded in who you are. Be confident. Don't be scared. It's not worth it. They're trying to divide us. Stop this nonsense. Now, Lance apparently had a bad experience at church. This is the what's your experience with spiritual abuse is the topic, and then we did not click the view spoiler because it's somebody complaining about their thing, and it's really not important to the comment. This is Lance talking about his experience. Was told I was possessed by a demon, and then within 30 minutes kicked out of the house because I started laughing and I wouldn't go to the bishop for a blessing. Later found out they just didn't like me and were looking for a way to get me out of the house. Wasn't even 18 at the time. That's him talking about his parents, the ones he's currently living with in Texas. Like those are harsh words. But now all of a sudden they're letting him back. Then somebody says the whole possessed by a demon theme seems to be the go-to response from Christian parents. And he says, yeah, always my recommendation to people nowadays. If you have to deal with wacky evangelism, simply leave because you won't be able to help them and they will continue to hurt you. He's turning the other cheek. Like, I disagree with his philosophy on this. I might have agreed with his parents on the demon possession thing, but it doesn't sound like he's like, you need to fight. We gotta win this fight. We got to take people out. We got to revolt. No, he sounds like, okay, we'll just walk away. They're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're not going to change their mind. So why bother? This is not a radicalizing guy. Not based on his public social media profile. Was he like a hardcore drinker maybe? Was that his problem? Well, let's find out. Because he's on an alcoholism subreddit. And he says, I appreciate the resources. I'll definitely read through the Alcohol Explained book. The blackout piece was solid. I didn't think about choking. I'm glad I can't fall asleep on my back. It kind of saved me there. I kind of feel like it's too late on the addiction part because I did a ton of weed earlier in my teens, and I can tell it messed with my energy and attention levels. And I mean this is the key line here, guys. I'll zoom in for this part. And I mean this in no edgy or depressing way, but I don't really see myself making it past about 25 at this rate, so I'm not too worried about the long-term effects. I think I'm going to wait until legal age to at least try any alcohol again, though. So he had a bad experience with alcohol. Sounds like he blacked out and vomited all over the place. And his response was, well, I probably don't need that anytime soon. Am I humanizing him? I'm not trying to. I'm just letting the posts speak for themselves. This is like all we could find. This is every post we could find. And then he gets political. The one time he gets political that we could find. One time he really just laid into politics. He's talking on a political compass memes. Yeah, that would make sense. I guess I don't see that because I'm American and not too much into national, let alone international politics. Oh. You're not into politics, you say? Not much into national or international politics? It's just weird for most of us who don't really care either way. You don't even care about politics? Yet we're to believe that the reason Tyler Robinson decided to up and leave the house and go take a life, a human life, was over politics? Over hate? Over this issue that you don't seem to even care about, really? I have no opinions of Italians, and then I go on the internet and get immediately stereotyped, which I'm sure happens to you also. It's one of those situations where I could care less for America until I feel accused of something for being an American citizen, and then my first reaction is defense for my country. I can almost hear in the background, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I mean, again, I don't show any of this to say, what a human, what a guy, what a pal, what a chum. Lance is not living a life I would want to live. But I also don't see evidence that he's living a life that we're told. And this is the constant problem with this case. We're told one thing, and then when you dig into it, it doesn't materialize. We're told the parents were going to rat on their son, that they'd confess to them, and that's why they turned him in. Push comes to shove, we don't get shown that. We're told there's insurmountable evidence that Tyler Robinson was on the roof with a gun. We're shown grainy Bigfoot footage that people in the courtroom compared to a blob. We're shown a gun that the detective, who is like, his whole job is to look at guns. And he's like, it looks like a pole. I mean, it could be a gun. It's kind of gun-like, straight. It doesn't look like it's not a gun. Thank you, Detective Bagley. Sharp work there, partner. We're told there's just solid DNA. There's DNA's all over the gun. And the lady gets in there like, it's pretty degraded, actually. So it has some of the oldest DNA on the gun. Oh, and by the way, the gun had dust all in the barrel. Oh, and by the way, there's 4 other people's DNA on there, and theirs are not as degraded. Huh? Wait, what? This is totally inconsistent with what we were told. Oh, you're going to see HD footage of him all over campus. We literally have blurred faces. And the only pictures we have that you can even kind of see a face, Kash Patel told us they were enhanced. The enhanced photos and the video. Well, the photos that they released that he said were enhanced, even in their enhanced state, Lance Twiggs gets up there and says, I can't 100% identify him. He's wearing the same jeans, I guess. I know he owns shoes. He likes hats. That guy's wearing a hat. I've never seen that hat. But he loves hats. He's a big hat guy, big into hats. And he has an affinity for sunglasses. My sensitive eyes, I guess. That guy had sunglasses. We're told he returned to the scene shortly before 1 o'clock. So we're shown a Dodge Challenger returning to the scene shortly before 1 o'clock. Pretty compelling. Until you hear from the homeowner that it was driven by a bald man with 3 passengers. Oh, okay. Nothing we're told is true. Nothing we're told happened. We just continually go through this over and over and over. It's nonsensical at this point. And there's really no way to square this circle. If every single thing we're told about this case falls apart under the slightest bit of scrutiny, if every single emotional pull looks manufactured, that young man, I forgive him. As she's reading the confession, the forgiveness. And then she said, well, I didn't even know I was going to say that. I just spontaneously came to me. No, you gave like a Daily Freddo. Cassia did a great job on this. She read like 5 lines. It was like 5 sentences long that she was looking down and reading word for word. I mean, that was not spontaneous. It's all manufactured. It all falls apart the second you begin to look at it. I go back to what I've been saying. He was not supposed to live. He was not supposed to live. Because if he didn't live, none of this happens. There's no case. There's no trial. We're not sitting here investigating it 10 plus months later. We're not examining his social media posts, Lance Twiggs. We're not looking at the timeline of when Charlie Kirk made it to Draper for the funeral home and what time could Erika possibly have gotten there in order to get back to the Air Force Two at the time she allegedly rolled in. How long could she have possibly been in that room? And, you got to load up the casket and you got to unload the casket. And whose suit was he wearing? Why is there lint all over it? Why is it dirty? Why is he wearing a dirty suit? Whose suit was that? And why hadn't it been to the cleaners? No offense to those of you who wear dirty suits, but I mean, it's obvious it's not a brand new suit. It's not a brand new tie. That tie has not been manufactured in the last 20 years. That's a tie you see on people in pictures in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. There's nothing wrong with it. It's probably a nice silk tie. Probably ties a nice knot. But it's not new. It's not something that Charlie would wear. He never wore a tie like that. And so what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? Like you could get to this point in the case and you could look left and you could look right and say, well, why does everything fall apart? Why did they pave over the crime scene? Why is the FBI telling people to pave over the crime scene? Why is the governor of Utah telling people to pave over the crime scene? I'm not going to play it because it's 5 minutes long and I don't want to sit here and watch a 5-minute clip of another podcast. But the PBD podcast, I went back and watched it. 5 days after Charlie Kirk went down. I think this was like September 15th or 16th. They're all sitting around, the whole cast. And you know that if you watch it, there's 3 or 4 people on there. I don't watch it, but I see a lot of clips. For some reason, my timeline gets infested with them, and sometimes they're compelling, and I watch them. But there's like 3, 4 guys sitting around. And they all had different complaints. They all agreed, that's not a 30-06. If that's not an exit wound, that's not a 30-06. And even if it's an exit wound, it's probably not a 30-06. Because we know what a 30-06 does. Everyone knows what a 30-06 does. Even our friend from one of I can't think of the name of his channel right now for some reason. Gary, what's his channel? I can't think of the channel, but our friend oh gosh, I'm blanking. Oh, Paramount. Like, he made his whole channel for the first month after the thing. I mean, he was getting hundreds of thousands of views, I think got 1 million plus views on some of his videos, basically telling everybody there's no way this was a 30-06. We got to figure out what's going on here. And he might have thought body armor. He might have thought deflection. Like he said, this is not a direct shot to the neck because that's totally inconsistent. Well, now he's changed his mind. Oh, Martin Luther King. Yeah, because stop it. 30-06s don't stop in 4 inches of neck. They just don't. And at the beginning, we all universally agreed with this. Everyone universally agreed with it. But it wasn't just that they were asking questions about. They were asking questions about all, it had to be after the 15th that they had this. Maybe it was the 15th or the 16th that this podcast was, because then they sat around saying, why did they pave over the crime scene? And the guy was getting really angry, and he's like, you don't pave over the crime scene. And he mentioned other high-profile crime scenes. And he said, these crime scenes were preserved for weeks. You couldn't walk anywhere near them because they didn't know if they were going to go back and need more evidence as the investigation developed. So they just preserved it. They put caution tape around it and posted an officer there and said, no one walks there. Yes, sir. I got it. And they paid someone to stand there and make sure nobody walked on the crime scene. And my point, when I was going to play it, but I don't want to sit here and play it was late, and I don't want to play a 5-minute clip of someone else's podcast. But my point was going to be, and my point is, that we all universally accepted very early on that everything about this case sucked as we knew it. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, it still sucks. Nobody called me and offered me anything. Maybe other people got a call and they were offered something or threatened. I was not. So I'm continuing to investigate. I'm continuing to look into it. Because as I look into it, I say, this doesn't make sense. I mean, why do a photo op in Draper? This would have been a totally different case if he took his own life, if he died before turning himself in. Totally different case. Then you could put Erika in there, and if she's a total weirdo, no one really notices because we're not investigating a murder. I mean, it's pretty obvious the murder's open and shut. We might look and go, ugh, she's kind of weird. But that's it. No one would think she had anything to do with it. May not have anything to do with it. But, I mean, people are asking the question because why the hell are you acting so weird? We wouldn't have Blake Sneff crashing out on X Spaces at 2 a.m. We wouldn't have Andrew Colvett crashing out on X like 9 times a day, attacking people. And somebody makes 9 points and he'll just write, this is false. All 9 points? Which point is false? Is the name of the person true? Like if you say this is false to somebody, is my name true? What's part's false? We would get answers. I had a conversation today with someone actually, who, I was telling them, I said, I feel like if TPUSA paid me a bundle of money, I could get them back on track, but they'd have to commit to the truth. But I would answer every question. I'd say, you know what? It's gone on long enough. We're going to put this to bed. What do you want to know? I would start hosting people for 2-hour interviews, and I would say, send me your questions ahead of time so I can dig up the materials you need. You want to know where I was on September 8th, 9th, and 10th? Here's my calendar. This is my story. I stick to it. Here's where I was. Here's every move I made. What else do you want to know? Oh, where was I on this date? Here's the flight I took. Here's the manifest. Here's the itinerary. Here's the email where they sent me the confirmation. What else can I answer for you? We're not getting that. Instead, we're getting obfuscation, we're getting confusion, we're getting anger, we're getting lashing out. They're now hiring people to go around and offer 6-figure paydays for somebody to show up and debate for 2 hours. What a silly, preposterous notion. You know what a sellout you would look like if you took money to go debate someone? You know why they're recommending that? Because it worked for them. That's my guess. I can't say that for sure. I've not seen the checkbooks. But anybody who thinks that Candace or Barron or anybody else can be bought to go debate probably believes that because they know they were bought. That's just my guess. That's my guess. Throw money at them. They won't be able to resist it. How do you know? Well, I couldn't resist it. I wasn't able to resist it. Well, I can resist it. I can resist it. Because I can't be bought. I can't be bought. I wouldn't take a flight from these people to go debate. And there's nothing to debate. I had a different conversation today with someone else. Said, hey, will you want to do a podcast with so-and-so and just an honest sit-down conversation? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I might do that. Why don't you set up a call and we'll have an off-the-record discussion and see if there's anything even to talk about. Because if all they're going to do is say, well, the prosecution showed X, Y, and Z, and all I'm going to say is everything I've already said on my podcast to what the prosecution showed, what is there to talk about? But if they have something interesting and engaging, I highly respect this person. I think this person's a good faith, honest actor, very well respected, been on TV for 10, 15 years, high-profile cases. I'll be happy to sit down and talk with someone like that. This guy's rational, level-headed, but I want to make sure there's something to talk about. If there's nothing to talk about, I'm not doing it. So we'll have a phone call and we'll figure it out. I'm more than happy to engage that way. But innocent people don't hire people to go call other people evil. They don't do that. If you're innocent, you don't engage in that behavior. That's not right. That's not normal. I've never hired anybody to go call my enemies evil. And I bet you I could pay someone, I'll give you $200 a day to just sit around and tweet all day about these 3 people. Okay. I know people who do it. But why? I've not done anything. I have no reason to. If these people want to pay to or take a paycheck to sit around, if they want to sell their integrity to sit around all day and write about Candace and Barron and Trigger Smart and Zach and Colin and have fun. That's great. You know how much it bothers me? Not at all. Don't care. I'm an old school. All press is good press. The more you talk, the better, the more my audience grows. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. You know how many emails I have sitting in my email inbox right now? Like I would have never heard of you, but I saw this argument on Twitter and I thought I got to go see what this guy has to say. And now I watch every night. Great. Keep going. I hope you get lots of money to do it because you're helping me tremendously. Someone is paying you to advertise my show. It's fantastic. I appreciate it. But if the case was what you said it was, if it was what you believed it was, you wouldn't care what I say, just like I don't care what you say. Because I am what I say I am. Independently investigating this, looking into it, opining where I have an opinion, pulling up facts where I can support them. And pretty much anything I've ever stated as a fact, I've put on the screen. Almost everything I've ever stated as a fact in this case, I have put on the screen. Everything else is opinion. Fair enough. I have opinions. I can't help it. I used to get bullied for it when I was young. You guys want to investigate me? Go talk to the people who used to push me into lockers. They'll be happy to tell you what a scumbag I was. That's fine. Don't care. Don't care. I really don't. I really don't. And so I'll wrap it this way. Because if Lance Twiggs is not who we were told he was, and if the photo op at the mortuary was a rushed staged job, and all of the zone flooding with all these different fake stories and all you people that are sending me tips and I look them down and look them up and then I realize you just lying. They're just not true. If you're doing all this, I know I'm on the right path. I know I'm on the right path. If you sold me a bill of goods for the last 10 months telling me just wait till the prosecution gets to present some evidence, just wait. You'll see. You're going to look so stupid. I don't look stupid at all. That case was a dud, and you know it, and I know it. That case sucked. You can hire all the social media influencers you want to tell me how strong the evidence was and how this is one of the strongest cases you've ever seen. Then you don't watch cases. You've never been involved in a case. I've been involved in strong cases against my client, where the only thing you're hoping for is maybe the prosecution will have a little mercy and work with you to get some kind of a deal. That's it. Like, that's your only defense. Maybe we can get a little mercy. Maybe we can appeal to the judge in sentencing. Maybe we can get a stack of references. I had one guy that was so guilty, our stack of references was this high. There was no way to getting out of it, so you might as well try to work on mitigation for sentencing. That's it. That was it. That was the whole case. You almost didn't even have to cross-examine anybody. You almost didn't even have to put on a defense. Just, can we go on and do sentencing now, Judge? I mean, we'll preserve a few things for appeal, but my goodness. This is not overwhelming. Not at all overwhelming. And they know it, or they would not be on the attack. They would not be flooding the zone. I appreciate you joining. If you've enjoyed the show, hit the like button. It helps. It really, really helps. And I really appreciate it when you guys hit the likes, because that does affect distribution. You can also subscribe to the Clips channel if you'd like, condensed versions of certain particular stories. There's a clip right now we put up this morning. It is going wild. One of our highest performing clips ever. I think in 5 hours, it was like our second or third highest viewed clip of all time. It's really good. It's a very concise summary of one particular aspect of the case. And I think it was like 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And people like that. So they share it around and all that. So the Baron Coleman clips, you can go over there, subscribe to the channel. You can buy some merch. We have a great merch lineup. I mean, seriously, great merch lineup. RealBaronPodcast.com. RealBaronPodcast.com. Click merch, go down, click view all. You'll see the whole store. There's lots of stuff there. Some of our highest selling items, like the Holy Mackerel sweatshirt, the original OG High IQ Outfit hoodie. There's cups, there's baby gear. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm partial to the baby gear with the baby. I got to hold the grandbaby a lot today, see her a lot. It was fantastic. Came by to watch soccer. Already like soccer. I'm not sure what to think of her. I like soccer every 4 years like everybody else does. But yeah, it's great stuff. So appreciate it. I will roll through some of your comments now. Let me say this. I'll try to manage expectations on comments. I know what number we're at now, and I know where that ends. If I get to that point and it's really late, I may become selective. But I'm gonna read everything we have to now. But if you send something after now, could be a 50-50 chance whether it gets pulled up on the screen and responded to. I'm just trying to manage that expectation. When we started doing comments early, I had like 10 or 20 and I read every one. And then we'd have 50 and I read every one. But as it's grown, as the show's grown, as the audience has grown, I've had to, just for the sake of managing time, I've had to manage the amount of comments we read and react to. So I do appreciate them. I do read them after the show, even if I don't react to them on air. I go through after the show while the show's processing and read everything. Sometimes it takes me up to an hour, but it would take me 4 hours to pull them up and react to all of them. So I appreciate your patience with that. I genuinely do. But in the future, if you 100% just, I got to get a comment read, get it in during the show before I go to comments, and then you'll have a much higher likelihood. But I should be able to get to most all of them, or many of them tonight, because I see how many there are and they're manageable. I look forward to listening to you almost every day. My husband says you look like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Keep going, Max. Christ is king indeed. I'm not as fast, but thank you. He's a nice feller. But Baron, have you seen Erika's half brother? He has a striking resemblance to the boy in the Stairway in Black shirt. I have a photo and his name. I was shocked when I saw. Oh, I hope you didn't hear the opening, because I actually comment on that. I don't think he looks like him at all. And I think it would be foolish for them, frankly, to like, if you were going to do an op, like, assume it's an op. You're hiring the family? No, I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Not even close. Knowing what we know about the Challengers, wasn't that the same car parked outside the hangar? No, I don't believe so at all. I'd have to go back and look, but there was something about it that made me dismiss it. I think it had a sunroof, maybe. And Tyler's did not have a sunroof, so I have to go back and look at that. Good comment, but I think the answer is no. Humble host, maybe you already covered this, but I watched the preliminary hearings, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't some of the pics of TR's car have a front license plate and others didn't? Christ is king indeed. I don't recall any of them having a front license plate holder, but I'd have to go back and look. That was the biggest distinguishing factor for me. Everybody else keyed in on the exhaust and they keyed in on the front splitter, but I don't recall seeing the front license plate holder in any of them. You disagree?
No, I agree. I was going to say I saw an AI rendering go around recently, and the plates didn't even match Tyler's plates. So just be careful when y'all are looking at stuff like that. Always double check too.
That's good advice. Thank you. I have gotten so many emails, text messages, comments that have AI versions of Tyler Robinson. Like, this doesn't look anything like Tyler Robinson. It's very unhelpful when people use AI to enhance evidence. Even if you think you're just crisping it up a little bit, I need a little, it's fuzzy. Let me just use AI, don't change anything, but just tighten it up a little bit. No, you're changing it. Like, we all need to look at the same blurry evidence because the AI stuff is confusing people. Referring to the guy Candace spoke to, AR is a platform, not caliber. So it could have been 223, 556, 300 blackout, etc. Not big kid calibers, though. I'm trying to think of which part she played. I want to say that she played the part where he said the sound was why he thought it was a 223, but I could be wrong. Oh, I could be wrong about that, but he did say that. At some point he said that. But generally, I agree with you. The principal's nails definitely were and are maroon. I rest my case, Your Honor. Christ is king indeed. Yes. Props to my Aiden. Yes, I agree. I heard orange. I heard brown. Maroon. Maroon. From Kuskia, Idaho. Kuskia. I don't know where that is. Never been to Kuskia. Baron, thanks for being punctual. Podcaster we've come to know and love. That is all. Thank you. I think I was actually like 30 seconds late today, if I'm being honest. I don't want to toot my own horn for punctuality when I'm 30 seconds late. But I was. I think I was. Platform had my like button muted, hidden on CO video. However, what the heck? However, it reappeared for the humble host. Hey, from Australia. Well, that's terrifying. That's really terrifying. I noticed on a video the other day, I don't remember whose it was, but I clicked like, and I looked away, and I was doing something else, and I went back, and it was unliked. And I thought I liked that. So I clicked it again, and I watched it in real time, kept unclicking. Like, unclick. Like, unclick. I clicked it 10 times. I don't know if it got 10 likes or 0, but when I left the video, it was unchecked. Scared me. They're making a mockery of our court system. All this BS, I don't remember. What sort of law enforcement professional doesn't remember one of the most consequential days of their life? I don't get it, my B. Well, especially when they should just take the time to read their notes before they go testify. I mean, that's easy enough, right? You're gonna testify tomorrow. Why don't you bone up? Bon appetit. Hold please. Oh, I'm holding. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Klein Productions. What a polite way to say thank you. Brandon Daisy, thank you for all you do. We appreciate your hard work. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Tower of Babel cult not only spoke the same language, they used the same words. Example, overwhelming. Oh, see Genesis 11:1. I'll take your word for it, but I did not know that. They spoke the same language. Use the same word. You mean, okay. So you're saying before they got their language mismatched in Genesis 11 or 12, before they got their language all garbled, they were using the same words. Yes, propaganda. Flooding the zone. Where are we after all this is over? I hope we're not investigating Tyler's demise. Oh, me too. I genuinely hope that's not the case. Hi from Australia. Baron, we love you. Saw what Gary was saying yesterday, and I was getting so mad. I didn't even notice it, honestly. I did not see what he said yesterday. I don't care. I honestly don't care what he says. You can say whatever you want, Gare Bear. Say whatever you want, big boy. He's the one that's got to lay down his head at night. If that's the way he wants to make a living, that's his business. Commenting early, so I don't know if you'll cover this. Dan Flood with Meta glasses could have been on the phone with Ben Security without anyone even realizing it. They work just like AirPods for phone calls. Oh, I did not realize that. I don't own Meta glasses. I did find Meta glasses. We went on a memorial ruck for a friend of mine who passed away from cancer a couple years ago. And while I was walking, there were a pair of Meta glasses on the sidewalk. They were in a case. Picked them up, walked home, got on the local community page and put up a post like, hey, I found these. Are these yours? You can come connect them to your phone. I'll give them to you. I had no use for them. I'm not going to wear those things around. And they came and connected and came and got them. So the only experience I have with Meta glasses is I watched them connect. Gifted 10 membos. Wow, 10 membos. That's 10 people who can watch high quality member content. Baron, you embody what people should be through morals, integrity, and being a godly human being. Thank you. I've had low moments in my life, but I'm trying my best every day. So thank you. May God keep his protective hand over you and yours. People like you give me hope for the rest of humanity. Go Max, my B. Christ is king indeed. Well, thank you. Golly, that makes me feel. I need to read these next time I get a little down. I need to go back and read today's comments. For long, the next generation will ask us, do you remember when questions? You and many others will be part of my firsthand recollections. Wild to think. Thank you for your part in all this. I didn't even think about that Charlie may be a do you remember where you were type moment. That's interesting. I've heard people talk about that. Just want to say thank you to you, Mrs. C, and your family for the sacrifice of these late nights. You and Candace are pivotal to truth being uncovered. P.S. I searched goat water on Amazon. Weird results. Says you have to search Mountain Valley spring water. They have flavored, but I have never tried it. I don't believe in flavored water. I've had it, but I don't believe in it. I mean, I know it exists. Not that I don't believe in it that way. I'm not going to drink it. Not going to drink it. But goat water, I imagine you got weird results. I don't want to hear about it. They might be inappropriate for prime time podcasting. When I saw our principal mention our humble host came over to do fire testing, I immediately thought that's what she called about during the show the other day. Welcome to the big time. That's not at all what she called about. I wasn't going to say it, but so we're sitting over there. We're just chatting a couple of 3 hours. And all of a sudden she's like, you want to go burn some stuff? She's wild. She's wild. My B, love your work. Keep it up and go Max. Please say hi to my hubby, Barry. Thank you, Baron. Christ is king indeed. Barry, you'd be surprised. I get called Barry a lot by people who don't know me that just hear my name and think I say Barry. B, I don't care who murked CK, but I'm interested in who you think is winning the 2026 World Drivers' Championship in F1. And do you think Max V will leave Red Bull? If yes, when? I think the end of this year, he'll leave. I think he's an out if they don't finish third, and I don't see that happening. I don't know where he'll go. Maybe, I mean, really, there's only two teams to go to right now, Mercedes and Ferrari. I'd be surprised if Kimi Antonelli doesn't win it. He is an excellent driver, and he's figured this car out. And maybe he's better at this car because he didn't have as much experience in the non-power harvesting cars. But he's wild. But yeah, I think he'll leave. If he left his screwdriver on the roof when he disassembled the gun, how did he reassemble it before placing it in the towel? That's a common misconception. He did not. The news story is he did not reassemble the gun. He did not disassemble the gun after the bang. That was something Governor Cox said at his initial press conference. He was kind of given a blow-by-blow timeline, and he said that the timeline included him disassembling the gun. We've later learned that would be impossible, so they abandoned that. And I don't know necessarily why that was going to be the original plan to go with that. Maybe, I don't know, or if he just misspoke. But yeah, so we can disabuse ourselves of the notion there was any gun disassembling, because that is no longer the story. G-Dog, white hoodie pops the beard. Just saying, but I know I love you. Christ is king indeed. I'll translate this for those that don't speak hip. You look old, Baron. That's what he said. And I will allow it because I think he might be onto something. Tejas girl here. Haas girl here. Hubs brought me intro to logic. Was so excited till I saw all these weird formulas, questioning my logic abilities. Now I love you, B. The formulas help you think. Learn how to think. I took logic classes in college. I've read the books. They teach you to think. I did really well on that portion of the LSAT. You just got to know. You just got to know. Hi, Baron. Does the video on the roof show the 8 minutes between the person stepping onto the roof until firing the alleged shot? Same person. In fact, the video we have seen does not show that. Whether they have that and plan to show it at the trial later or turn it over in discovery, I don't know. I assume they do. But I don't know. Because all I know is we've lost him on camera for like 15 minutes, maybe 30, from what we last saw in the picture until we saw the guy scampering across the roof. That 30 minutes is called reasonable doubt. Even 15 minutes would be reasonable doubt. Frankly, even 1 minute could be reasonable doubt. But Baron using membership to finally, thank you, short version, say for decades, but fear of demonic was growing. Your referral to Nefarious and Exorcist File Pod helped me face it, learn, and overcome. Christ is King indeed. Wow. Thank you. The movie Nefarious is amazing, made by a weirdo, but very amazing movie. And the Exorcist Files podcast is compelling, particularly season 1. Like, just listen to the case files, and it's crazy. Wild stuff. First super chat. My 11-year-old daughter, Hannah, and I are your number 1 fans in Franklin, Indiana. I've been to Franklin. We never miss a show. Please say hello to Hannah. Believe it or not, I had a legal case in Franklin, Indiana. The prosecutor was a descendant, not a defendant. The prosecutor was a descendant of a guy named Fuzzy Vandiver. I don't know if you're familiar with him living in Franklin, Indiana, but he is roundly considered one of the greatest high school basketball players of all time. He played like in the 20s, I think, or maybe early 30s. John Wooden, the great Wizard of Westwood, the 10-time national championship coach at UCLA, called Fuzzy Vandiver the greatest basketball player he ever saw. He's from Franklin, Indiana. I think they were called the Franklin Wonder Five when he played. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Everyone, please like and subscribe. It costs nothing and helps our humble host immensely. It does. It's a tremendous help to like and subscribe. So please, by all means. And when you subscribe, click the little down arrow and you'll get a notifications option. Click all, and you're supposed to never miss. You should never miss a notification. That's the idea behind that button. Whether they follow through, I don't know. But you're not supposed to miss anything. My air quality thing just went bad. Kicked on. I hope nothing bad's going on in here. Yeah, thank you. Blessings, Baron. Finally caught a live. Yay. Love your show? Christ is King indeed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Watched the Joe crash out for the first time, and wow, that was epic. She had no idea what she was getting herself into with that comment. You could pay $10 to not be stupid. Yes, you can. That was the logic book the other girl was referencing earlier. Someone posted the first part of that the other day and thought it was like a big own, like trying to make me look like a psycho. And I watched it with so much pride. Some people need to hear it. I mean, I'm sorry. I can be nice most of the time. I can't be nice all the time. Baron, since the state has overwhelming ironclad case closed evidence, wouldn't the defense encourage TR to accept a plea deal and maybe have the death penalty taken off the table? Your thoughts? I mean, that would be the idea if they did. And they might, and the defense might not be motivated to do that if they had the state might not be willing to do that if they had overwhelming ironclad case closed evidence. So stay tuned. May I ask my fellow Baronites to pray for my dad? He's in the hospital with brain bleed. He's one of the earliest people to clock EK as unsettling, his description. So he's practically one of us. Christ is King indeed. Funny about that. I was talking to somebody today I'd never spoken to before. And he said that he was watching it with somebody and that person was like, this isn't right. Like watching the September 12th speech, their first speech, all dressed in white, standing next to the chair. And then he was watching it with someone who was like, this isn't right. Like something's wrong here. And then he went over and watched the comments and he said the comments were just eaten up with something's wrong here. This is not right. This is not how a normal person should be acting. So much so that they took those live chats off of the channel. Can't find them anymore. They unchecked the button that replays the live chats. Curious what you think of the possibility that Charlie's death was PR stunt gone wrong. Maybe they didn't mean to kill him. I don't know. Just seems perfectly set up with all the wrong evidence. Hurts my heart either way. Christ is king indeed. I've thought about it. And the only thing that makes me think Charlie would even go along with something like that is if they caught wind that people really were going to try to take him out and that they had infiltrated the plan, but you had all these people who were willing to do it. And they were like, well, we're going to set up these people, but they're guilty in mind anyway. Okay. I could see him going along with that. I've thought of that. I don't subscribe to that currently, but there have been periods in this last 10 months and 5 days where that has crossed my mind in a heavy, heavy way. So if you feel that way, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just where you are right now. Christ is king indeed. Edge, Colin asked Blake Neff about CK body and B shamed him as a creep. Seriously, after she publicly spread over the body, he's going to shame Colin. Blake Neff is the creep. I wasn't going to comment on that particular space. I did comment on an earlier space he did. I caught clips of that. I did not sit there and listen to the whole thing, but I did catch clips, and someone sent me that one. The only thing I would say is they're not doing themselves any favors. Like, this is the worst PR strategy ever. If you're going to go on a space and you got all this suspicion about you, be the most likable human being there ever was. People have a hard time suspecting people they like. They have a hard time suspecting friendly people. They just do. They just do. And to the extent he's liked, it will go a long way towards diffusing suspicion away from TPUSA. But instead, he goes on these spaces and acts like a total a-hole. And he acts demeaning and condescending, and he's like he's better than everybody. I'm like, dude, you were unemployable when Charlie Kirk hired you. Like, you've admitted as much. Your life was basically ruined. You're not better than anybody. Nobody. Please revisit the hats taken from the table. I followed most developments and had no idea that avenue had been explored. Thank you for being genuine and honest. Yeah, the hats. I would love to get one of them, but no one has offered, and we followed up leads on 2 people that we were told had them, and they were dead ends. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. I come for the Baron and stay for the Daisy. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Anyone in EK orbit is just an enabler. IMO. Christ is king. Love you. Indeed. Not love you indeed, but Christ is king indeed. I tend to kind of agree with you. On the stand, lead investigator said he didn't attend the autopsy. Got the impression that no investigator did. This is highly unusual. Hold on. Is that unusual? Hold, please. Got my autopsy reference site here. Police investigators typically attend autopsies, especially in suspicious, unexplained, violent, or criminal cases. Investigator brings details from the crime scene, witness statements, or initial findings. Pathologist shares observations in real time that include wound patterns, time of death, and estimates or trace evidence. Collaboration helps determine cause and manner of death more accurately. Law enforcement may document findings independently, collect samples, or ensure chain of custody for items that become evidence, for example, bullets, clothing, and toxicology. Many jurisdictions, police have the right and are expected to be present at forensic autopsies ordered for medicological investigations. Wow. I guess that raises the obvious question. Did a police investigator attend the autopsy? I hope no one's trying to poison me. This thing's going crazy. Wondering about the casket being put in the hearse video. Candace said it was at the hospital. The room is filled with vintage cars, and he thought it was not the hospital. That vintage car is a vintage hearse at Goff Funeral Home in Draper. That's where it is. So it's not at the hospital at all. I don't recall her saying that, but if she did, a gentle correction to our principal. That casket was being put in at the Goff Funeral Home to go to Air Force 2. My B, I so appreciate all you do. Update, my husband is joining me in OCIA next month. Thank you so much for the advice. Please pray for his journey. Christ is king indeed. I'll pray for both of your journeys. We don't need all our super chats read on the show. Please take good care of yourself and your family. Love you, Baron. I like to read as many as I can. I mean, it's just, this is the only way I get to know you. Like, this is my interaction. So I try to read as many as I can. If there are comments telling me to investigate something I just investigated yesterday, I'm probably not going to go back into a whole explanation. I'll just refer them to the show the day before. If the comment is suggesting how to run the show, I'm probably going to be polite, but say thank you and move on. But I try to get to as many as I can. Edge, why was BN even at UVU? Not an employee, not an on-location See Charlie Kirk show. Contributed nothing. Why was he lurking with failing memory? That's a great question. He makes such a big deal about the fact that he doesn't work for TPUSA. So why was he there? Oh, I had to help Charlie prepare for the interviews, for the big debate. Oh, hush. Hush. We've seen you on your feet, sir. It's not pretty. And I'm not talking about the muffin top. I'm talking about your performance on these X spaces. They're lousy. I completely disagree. People 3 generations ago worked way harder than we do. Yeah, but they also sat around in their off time. I'm not saying they didn't work. I'm saying when they had downtime, they didn't come in and play Nintendo. They didn't, or whatever the cool game system is now. So it shows you how old I am. They didn't doom scroll X. They didn't TikTok. Oh, no. They watched birds. Looked at clouds. Query. For evidentiary hearing, does all evidence have to be presented? No. Can some evidence be withheld but used in actual trial? Yes. But Baron, the goat water apparently has a class action lawsuit about undisclosed pollutants. Google will give the info. Just wanted to mention it. I love and drink it too. Christ is king. Much love to you and fam. I've heard as much, but no better time to drink it. Because if they're being sued for it, they probably corrected it. In my opinion. The whole day of Charlie's assassination was like 9/11. I remember both days like they're frozen in time. The whole day. Not directly involved in either. Blake Sneff was. How does he not remember? Utter BS. Talking about Ben Shapiro? Oh, no, bull butter. Talking about bull butter. Listen. The best thing I've heard on this came from Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian Kubrick. She wrote an eloquent, well-reasoned explanation for what Blake Sneff is doing, and frankly, what others are doing, and maybe what the investigator was doing on the stand when she couldn't remember anything. In intelligence circles, you're given a script. You can say anything on that script. You may not deviate from the script. You got a backstory. That's it. Your backstory is on that piece of paper. And anything else anyone asks you, you deflect. You change the subject. You don't remember. That's it. I have a script. Blake Sneff's script is, I don't work for TPUSA. I work at the Charlie Kirk show. He says it all the time. Okay, why were you there, big boy? That wasn't a Charlie Kirk show event. I don't know. You're not on the script. We're not going to talk about it. I'm here to help prepare for the debate. How did you help? I'm just there. I'm there to help. I don't work for TPUSA. I work for the Charlie Kirk show. I flew into Salt Lake City. I got in an SUV. Where'd you go? I don't know. Why did he know? It's not on the script. You drill the script. You memorize the script, and you don't deviate from the script. It's a stress management technique because it takes a lot of pressure off you if you know not only you don't have to, but you're not allowed to try to create other stories. Why would you not want to do that? Let's say there's 10 of you, and you don't know what the other 9 people are going to say. And Frank Turek got himself in a little bit of the situation. So did Brian Harpole. One of them saying he's doing in there just cranking out CPR, and the other one's like, there was no one doing CPR. I'm halfway hanging out the truck, and he's back there praying, and apparently we're calling Ben Shapiro at some point. I don't know. But they differed on the CPR thing, and what happened? Everybody jumped on it, seized on it. Were you doing CPR or not? How do you guys not know this? That's why you don't deviate from the script. The script should have been, Brian Harpole gets the end of the script. I've got my butt hanging out. He's got the tattoo. He's hanging on to me. I'm plugging the hole. Does anybody doing CPR? I don't know. It's not on the script. Not on the script. The answer is I don't know if it's not on the script. And Blake Neff feels like he's following the script. Whether he is, I don't know. I just want to say thank you for being you, sharing your knowledge, and you better not sell out on us. Much love from Gilbert, Arizona. Christ is king indeed. I'm not going to sell out. I won't even take, I got offered a lot of money to do this stupid debate. I'm not even going to take that. Not worth it. I don't want to be accused of selling out. Is the judge legally allowed to watch shows like this, or is it similar policy that applies to jurors? Allowed? I would think so. Would I, as a judge, watch this show? No. Judge Graff, no offense if you're watching. You did a pretty good job. Pretty good. But no, I mean, watch whatever he wants, I guess. I don't know. I'm not aware of any judicial canon that says you can't watch podcasts. Why would a Christian say God bless you to a body in a casket if the soul's in heaven? The ultimate blessing. I'm not going to judge that. I mean, let's say she's being honest and it's all spontaneous and she's just uttering stuff and she's not reciting the lines the person behind her is feeding, is what it sounded like. Let's say she's being spontaneous. I mean, I don't know what a grieving wife says over her husband's body in the casket. I mean, I see people write Facebook posts to dead people. They're not reading Facebook, I promise. Maybe they are. Baron arrived in Huntsville this morning. First trip home to Bama from Massachusetts in 2 years. Am I visiting with family? No. Watching Candace and you. Your family will still be there in the morning. How about EK's brother being TR's doppelganger? Thank you all so much for all you do. What time did you send that? That was well after my opening, sir. You're not watching all the show. Hit rewind. You can't pull that one past me. Not on the script, sir. Hey, B, after hearing about Lance's DNA being found literally everywhere, I feel compelled to wash my sheets on a daily basis. Love you and the team. Nurse Casey does an amazing job with the merch. She does, and more. She's fantastic. Your sheet's going to be in a crime scene? They shouldn't be. They might still have DNA on them when they come out of the dryer. I don't know. We spend entirely too much time arguing on X when we should be investigating. This is by design. Be better. Be more like Baron. We love you, Baron. Oh, we love you more, Seren. Thank you for being a beacon of hope and staying humble. I always try to stay humble. I may fail from time to time, but I try. Asking for prayers of strength and healing. My dad has 2 forms of cancer, fighting colon perforation. Diabetes has his kidneys whacked out. My mom is sole income. God will provide. Christ is king indeed. You, my B and D. Oh, love you, my Baron and Days. Got you. Yeah, I agree that God will provide, but that doesn't mean God doesn't want your dad to be better. I pray for him to be healed. I almost said your name, but I just prayed for the dad of It's Brittany. B word. My humble host. So Blake not remembering what he did the morning of September 10th is crazy to me. I didn't even know Charlie and remember everything I did that day. I'll never forget. Tragic. Christ is king indeed. I agree with you. For a long text convo while driving, one would likely not type, but instead use talk-to-text microphone. That would likely lead to at least some misinterpreted wrong words. I saw none. Just saying, Christ is king indeed. Maybe. I see people banging away on their phone every day. Baron, thank you for always being honest with the jury, no matter what the outcome of what you're saying may lead to. We're also grateful to have you lead us through this investigation. Thank you. That's very kind. I'm trying to be honest. I'm not going to BS you. B. E. Curious if you've tried Ian's web app. I have. When launched, seemed like a great tool for the investigation and refer people back to specifics in old episodes. Christ is king indeed. It's great. The web.io. You could upload your own documents into it. They've got all kinds of different documents, not just Charlie Kirk case, but the JFK. I mean, they got everything in there. All the Einstein documents are in there. And you can do natural language queries and ask it to make connections. And it's pretty wild what it can. Bednars did a walkthrough at UVU. The grass in the quad section is mostly green, except for the section in front of where CK was. Could explosive residue have poisoned that area? Christ is king indeed. I didn't see the walkthrough, so I don't know what it looks like. But I'm not an explosive residue and grass expert, so I don't know. It might just be that people walk there a lot and just killed it. Or maybe just the water, the way they water it doesn't reach. They got a dead zone. Need to adjust a head or something. Thank you for all you do. Your number one fan from Lubbock, Texas. Wreck 'em. Can't be number one from Lubbock. Blake Bednars is there. He loves me more. My ex-husband, who beat my 6-week-old babies 8 years ago, was released from prison on Tuesday. 6-week-old babies? Was released from prison on Tuesday. Please pray for my safety of my children. Love you, Baron, in this community. Christ is king indeed. I will, Mama Hoot Hoot. That's wild. Thank you. I saw the Loch Ness Monster on the rooftop. Go Max. Christ is king and you are golden, Baron. Oh, no. The Loch Ness Monster footage is way cleaner than what we got on the roof. Way cleaner. Got more shirts today. They're awesome. Thanks. Also rewatched the Joe Crash Out video again while cleaning. Just as funny as the first time. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm loving the cream hoodie. Looks classy. Thank you. Love this high IQ outfit. I'm sit up a little higher to read that one. Love this high IQ outfit. Critical thinking is becoming a lost art. Dear sir. And dear sir, you excel at it. Oh, thank you. Go Max. I will do my best. I will do my best to maintain that. My husband's false story heard from Tim Pool. Ben Shapiro shares same security team as Charlie, so it only makes sense he would be on the phone. Yeah, a lot of this investigation plays out like the game of telephone. Someone says something and they email me and tell me something I said. I can't believe you said XYZ. And I'm like, I didn't say that, did I? I go back and look like it. I rarely write back, but I often want to. That's not Charlie's hand. That's not Charlie in Casket. Hands are far too small. She put hers on top of his, almost covered his compared to their hands in the wedding photos. So I'll say this: cameras do weird things. Like I can make my hands look really big or really small based on where they are. You're looking at a 3-dimensional scene with through a 2-dimensional lens. And so her hands are closer than his, and they're going to look larger than they actually are relative to how his hands are. And his hands are going to look smaller than they actually are relative to her hands. So I don't know that. I think I look at the bruising and the burning or whatever that is on his left hand in the casket. He's got a couple dots there in the web and one kind of up on the finger. And I think those are his hands. But I don't know. Could be wrong. I'm in B&A with 2,800 others studying recovery. Hebrews 6:10 describes you will be remembered. Please say again your favorites at Noosh. Oh, gosh. The little crispy rice bites are a must get. You get to add a gravy to it to pour over them or dip in them. If you go there and don't get those, you're out of your mind. You've missed the whole show. On the back, that's the starter. On the back end, they have this dessert that you pour this sweet and sour syrup over. I'm not sure what it is. It's weird. It's got like crispy rice noodles, and there's this kind of ice that's mixed in with it. And it's the strangest texture and the strangest taste, but it's irresistible. So that's very good. In the middle, I really like their gravies or whatever they call them. I think they're called gravies. Like they have a pomegranate goat and walnut gravy. Oh, and they've got this rice with saffron oil and I think the Burberries or something in it. Oh, stop it. You're in B&A. You mean the airport or you mean Nashville? We're not like ATL. We don't refer to our city as the airport. But welcome home. Welcome home. You should move here. It's great. You and everyone else. Did you watch Stu Peters live a few nights ago? Thoughts? I did not. I haven't had a chance to catch it. B, can you take earlier time and Candace go live whenever it works for her? She gets later by the day. I thought about talking to her about that. Like, if you know you're going to go after 6, I'll just go at 3 and be done by the time you're done. I'll ask the principal. It's up to the principal. She's never early nor late. She arrives exactly when she means. Thank you for all you do, Baron and team. Very thankful to this high IQ community and proud to be part of the grand jury. have a hard time to catch a live these days, but I always come back to watch. Thank you. Appreciate it. My B, number one in Aiken here. 41-year-old sober, first time since 16. Took wife to our first mass, looking into OCIA. You've inspired invaluable life changes. Thank you from every depth of my being. Go, Max, Christ is King indeed. My goodness, my friend. That is such a wonderful comment. You're getting your life in order, your health back, your faith in order, bringing your family along. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You should be very proud of yourself. Not in a sinful way. Not that kind of pride. But you should be very proud of yourself. Very, very proud of yourself. They say pride's a sin. It's one of the I don't want to list all the sins because then we start stepping on people's toes. But pride's on the list. Pride's on the list. You're all chasing different leads. Without you, Candace, Ian, Trigger, and this awesome community, we'd be drowned in a flood of lies. So appreciate it. I tend to agree with that, and I'd add about 10 more names to that list or more. 100% agree, Baron. Amazed how all the podcasters were saying open and shut case. Yeah. It's almost like they were flooding the zone. Charlie's body did not leave that hospital because it was never taken there. There's no autopsy. I'm convinced he was taken directly to the airport. Do you have evidence of that? Because that's a rabbit hole I'll fall in and crawl around in. Muddier footage of the most Bigfoot sightings. I was KO'd. Brings me back to $1,000 a screw is crazy. No screws worth $1,000. No screws worth $1,000. That's referring to the screws in my leg. There's a lot of them, and they were $1,000 a piece. Insurance paid it. And that would have bankrupted your humble host if I'd had to pay for all that hardware down there. Thank you for your research and entertainment. Your channel growth and success is well deserved. Thank you for your comment. Your whatever it is going on in your life is well deserved. My day is now complete. The principal and vice principal, and I caught both live. Lottery ticket time. Your humble fan. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. I didn't know it was that big of a deal, but thank you. 223 round is the same caliber round Tatum used to debunk road mic theory. Mama! No way this fit in this mic. Not sorry. Well, Colin would be very proud. Coach Colin had a clip. Daisy sent it to me. Of Baron and Daisy approaching people in a dark alley demanding their call records. I watched it twice. He is funny. Coach Colin is funny. He is funny. I watched it twice. He ended up as some Chicago gangster. I don't know how he ended up there. Neither one of us talk like that. But he ended up in some Chicago gangster accent from the 20s. I sound like Babyface Nelson. All right, get in the car. Question. How did Tyler know that an old guy was detained right after if he left the campus to escape? He had a phone. Gifted 20 membos. 20 membos. Friends, take advantage of that member content if one of those memberships landed upon you, fell down like the dewfall. Thank you. Thank you. That is very kind. The test shot bullet pick is fake. Shadow of the allegedly used cartridge has a point. I would have a point if the test shot cartridge is non-pointy. They needed a test shot to go to premeditation faked. Let's see. Tyler Robinson test shot. Let's see if we can find it here. There it is. Test shot. No, that's not pointy. That's not pointy at all. It's in fact blunter than the others. And it's hard to tell because it's going through a measuring thing. I'm not going to key in on that. There's so much stuff in here. I'm not driving down that hole. Feel free to go though. If you find something compelling, let me know. Check your email. Oh, maybe. sent a couple regarding Millennial Flights, LLC Kalispell, flight N21487, registered agent manager LLC, sent all registration info in PDF. Very sketchy. Rabbit hole. Go Max, Christ is King indeed. So a couple things. One is we will never open a PDF. So that's, find another way to send it. Just find another way to send it. The virus scanners can do links and they can do other types of downloads. They do very poorly on PDFs. This is, so that's number one. Number two, you're not telling me why I'm interested in this plane. Give me a why to open it. Like when you write all that out, and I'm doing this to try to help you guys. If you want to give me information, I'm trying to give you the best way to do it. I'm not being arrogant or whatever, condescending. We have limited time in the day. And if I'm going to go find an email, I need to know the why. What is that going to tell me? What is the flight? Where did it go? What did it do? So thank you. I thank you for the tip, but I hope that was helpful. Baron, remember a few months ago, doom scrolling YouTube or X, came across photos of BH, RC, JH, and FT kind of hanging out like a fishing sportsman's compound in Montana, of all places. Maybe the plane, off topic, sorry, Christ is King indeed, did a whole show on it. We did a whole show on that. Not suggesting you have to watch every show we've ever done, but you could go back and find it. I think it's in one of the titles that we talked about it. If not, there's search engine things that can help you find it. But we talked about it. Peg leg TR up 2 different stairs. Stairs unusual spiral. Christ is King indeed. I did not see any spiral stairs. Has anyone looked into Hill Air Force Base, located in Layton, Utah, very close to Ogden? Yeah. I used to have a connection to Hill Air Force Base. I'm very familiar with it. They do a lot of IT stuff. Hill Air Force. How confident are you saying that you won't they won't get away with all this? I find it hard to believe that with that many people involved in cover up, they will all fail. How confident am I they won't get away with it? Not very. Who killed JFK? Who did 9/11? Why was Hinckley's brother having lunch with George Bush's son the day that Ronald Reagan got shot? I mean, there's just a lot of stuff we don't ever. What motivated the Vegas shooter? That obviously was not him. I mean, there's just so much stuff, man. I mean, a lot of really high-end, high-profile. Who was behind Butler? It was not the kid. The kid did not outsmart the Secret Service. Who was behind Butler? A lot of high-profile, crazy events that involve lots of actors, and even Charlie Kirk himself said that he didn't believe Butler for a second and thought there might be dozens of people involved, and everyone kept their mouth shut. So I'm not very confident. I mean, we'll see. We'll keep the pressure on and see what we can find. I was always thinking going home to Arizona the next day embalmed seems super fast. Christ is King indeed. It is super fast. Where Emmy and Dr. Trotter Googled from our greatest ally before 9/10. Go back and watch those Google Trend shows. They will blow your mind. If you're asking me that tells me you didn't watch them, and that's fine. Again, you don't have to watch everything. But I did like 8 shows on Google Trends, and they're not nearly as long as these shows. That was back before I had all the super chats, and they were like an hour. Go back and watch those shows. To short answer your question is yes, but it's not just them. It will blow your mind how many people involved in this were Googled over there. Bubba Barone, hope you're doing well. Do you remember Mr. Lantham from your radio days? Do you think he watches your shows now? Anyway, you and Daisy for your continued hard work. Lantham. Oh, you mean Latham? No, I'm not talking about him. He was convicted for harassing me. And I don't want to talk about it, but he probably is not watching if I had to guess, but I don't know. Honestly, don't care. I just want to say how much I appreciate you and the No Bull Butter Bunch for what you're doing to enlighten humanity. 54th birthday today, and excited for another year of wearing my tinfoil hat. Around the sun we go, madam. Around the sun, another world. Congratulations for surviving it. Not easy out there. Not easy being human on this earth. It's hostile. SBI lead investigator testified they never heard Tyler's name or knew who he was before he turned himself in. If that's true, why did Tyler think he needed to turn himself in? It's bugging me. I also don't think that's accurate. But that is still being investigated. So it's bugging me too. And stay tuned. We may get somewhere with that. We dug around all the funeral homes in the area, not to be morbid. Oh, Amber, shame on you. Shame on you. But we did. Daisy, you're literally the ultimate researcher goat. Yeah. Daisy, what are you working on? I'm looking at photos of every funeral home in Utah. Okay. Why? Where are we going with this? I'm on a mission. Don't bother me. I'll call you back in an hour. Okay. That's how that conversation went. I never felt more low-key seen than what you said. Take that, Knowles. Suck it, Daily Wire, on your show. Baron gasped when I heard it. The excitement about truth tellers like our humble host climbing the charts got a hold of me. Christ is king indeed. Keep going, Max. Where are we on the charts today? Did we catch some of those bad actors? Find out. I haven't looked. We'll look together. I might have dropped. You never know. These things, I think, get shuffled daily. And they're very harsh. They're like they're very recent biased. Look at our principal in the top 5. Up there with Tuck Face. Yes. Ben Shapiro. Coming for you, Shapiro. Megyn Kelly. Matt Walsh. What is this? Fed Slop Row up here? Oh, Dave Smith. He's solid. Bongina. I hope I'm not too far behind you, Bongina. Oh, your humble host. Take that, Knowles. 2 ahead of you. Oh, yeah. So I'm not on the same page. I am on the same screen with Bongina. Coming for you, Bonnie. Coming for you, Bongina. Better watch your 6 there, partner. In a podcasty way, not a violent way. Is there proof TR did a dry run before CK's death? Christ is king indeed. I've seen no evidence of that, nor have I heard evidence of that. That would be pretty devastating if he did, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, that would kind of end the case, right? All right, pack it up, go home. What are we talking about next week? My guess is Frank Turek had FaceTime open to Ben Shapiro security so they could hear what happened in the car without receiving a call. It's crossed my mind. I've talked about that. If I'm buried in a suit, somebody did me wrong. Oh, are you wearing jorts? What are we taking to the funeral? I'm curious to know what that means. Baron, please wish McKenna a happy 26th birthday today. I have a cousin named McKenna. Happy birthday, McKenna. Happy birthday. Welcome in. This is a humble guest. Your special way of connecting is a life preserver. Life can be a storm on a difficult journey. Rest up and take care of you. Christ is king indeed. I am rested and ready. Good evening, Baron and chat. Thank you. Evening. One of two. Just want to say thank you, B. There are many greats investigating, but you and Candace have opened my eyes in a profound, life-altering way, acting as tethers to an increasingly elusive and uncertain sense of reality. I look forward to number 2, the chronic ironic. Funeral homes often keep many suits on premise. Suit probably came from funeral home. But why? He was going to Arizona an hour later. The only reason is allegedly, in my opinion, the only reason could be the photo op. I would think. What if Erika brought it with her? So she's at her mom's doctor's appointment, which was closed that day, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know if I'm supposed to report that yet or not. Sorry if I just burst that one out. But she's at her mom's doctor's appointment. Allegedly, it's closed. Allegedly. She's at her mom's doctor's appointment or clinic or whatever. She gets the call at, what time did Mikey call her? 12:25 or 6. Panics. scampers out to the parking lot, hits her knees, cries, screams, rushes home and grabs a suit. Like, that would not be on my mind. I would want to know, is he okay? I got to get to the hospital. Like, she didn't know at that point he was passed. If you recall, according to the New York Times, she didn't even know he passed until she was already in the air. Is she hoping against him taking a suit? That's like bad luck. I mean, you don't plan for, you don't grab the suit if he's still alive, or if you haven't heard he's not. I don't buy it. No big and tall or thrifts in the area. Need to check purchases made. I don't know. Maybe. That was not a new suit, so it's not a big and tall. It'd have to be a thrift. And then, you can put him in a thrift for a photo op. Photo op was ghoulish. There, I said it. Well, my B. I thought you were going to say they brought one of his suits with them from Arizona before they even knew he was dead. Now that would be diabolical. That's the point, Molon Labe, that I was making to the other person. If they did, that's diabolical, because he was supposedly not known to be passed until she was airborne, according to the New York Times, the newspaper of record. I thought Candace mentioned Charlie traveled with a suit jacket when she was talking about the hanger in the car. I don't think she said suit jacket as much as like maybe a blazer or something. I mean, you don't wear a suit jacket without the suit pants. You travel with the suit pants too? I don't know. I'll have to check that. Maybe. But that a Charlie suit and tie there? Guy was worth literally tens of millions of dollars. And I saw that suit. Where did they go to a mortuary? All the way in. Why did they go to a mortuary all the way in Draper? That's 20, 30 minutes from Orem. There are 6 different cities between the two. Seems pretty suspicious. Now, keep in mind, he didn't go from Orem to Salt Lake City, then back down to Draper, then back to Salt Lake City. So the better question is, why did they go all the way to Draper when they could have just gone to somewhere in Salt Lake City? That seems to be a better question. Casket pictures haunt me. Why would you post it to the internet? It's like someone knew she would grieve differently and needed to get ahead of the game. Christ is king indeed. Prayers and love to all. I don't know if it was even to cut off the grieving story. I think it was more, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think it was just part of the emotional manipulation from the beginning to try to cut off any questioning about any of it. Like, oh crap, this is a disaster. Release the photos. Release the video. We didn't think we'd need it, but holy mackerel, did you see the speech she just gave? Go ahead and drop it. What gives me nightmares is if BS was watching CK passing car, could he have been talking to CK? Similar to the princess in Braveheart, telling the king on his deathbed that his line ended with him. I hope that's not true. But you know what Ben Shapiro's statement did? It made all of them liars, because they all said he was dead at the scene. Like dead at, like as soon as they hit him, he was dead. Lights out and bright. And you remember, was it Frank Turek? I saw his eyes, but he wasn't looking to me. He was looking past me to Jesus. According to Ben Shapiro, he's still alive. I mean, which one of you is telling the truth? I'm going with Ben. Be honest with you, if I have to at this moment, I'm going with Ben. Off topic, what if Guy on Roof was in tactical gear, as reported to CO? What if he was only up there to verify unaliving by scope? Bless you, B. Verify it by scope, create a distraction, or potentially deploy a weapon you and I aren't yet aware of. If you think you're aware of every weapon the government has in their arsenal, you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. No one knew about the discombobulator before Trump blew the whistle on it. You don't think they have something wild? We didn't know they had a heart attack gun till the 70s, and they came out I think it was a church hearing it came out in. And we found out they had a heart attack gun where they could point a gun at you and make you have a heart attack. Well, that was 50 years ago. What kind of weird lasery, flashy energy stuff you think they have now? Emotional asset behavior at its finest. Christ is king indeed. Agree. Disturbing display of manipulation driven by the dangerous actions of top-tier players. Possible. What was the exact time they found his gun? We have it on radio. It's after 5. I want to say like 5:20 or 5:30. We have the radio call. I think I played it. Why didn't Charlie reach out to Candace or others for help? Do you think he called his friends in government and that's why they didn't want his phone? I hadn't thought of it. I don't know that I want to answer that. I don't know. I have to put some thought into that. I don't know. It's a good question. Is there any evidence or anything that shows others at the Utah photo op funeral home? Charlie's parents, for instance, this is absolute weird. Thank you for your unwavering efforts. Christ is king indeed. I have not seen pictures of his parents there. Actually, now that you mention it, but I don't know that we caught pictures of everyone there. Man, we dug around all the funeral homes in the area. Sorry, that was inadvertently funny. Oh, well. Oh, God. Not with a shovel. It was not with a shovel. That's not how we dug around, if that's what you're getting at. 45 minutes to get my husband from his hospital room to the hearse. 1 hour to funeral home, 5 days to prep him for his service. Yeah. Yeah. Question about the 30-06 debate. I've only learned about ballistics in the last 10 months, but someone argued MLK was shot in the neck with the same caliber with no exit wound. Any truth to this? No. He was not shot in the neck. He was shot in the face. He was shot in the mandible, the skull. Very, very solid, hard bone. It went through his mandible, came out the bottom of his skull, left his body, re-entered the neck. It did re-enter the neck. And then went down into his chest cavity where it hit another bone, several major organs, and lodged against his scapula, a very hard bone. Even though it had already lost all the energy from his his face, and again out the other side and all the tissue in between the two, when it re-entered his neck, it still blew the neck out and just destroyed it, like blew it off. If you want to be gruesome, there is an autopsy drawing of it. I'm not going to show it, but it is gross. So it's not at all the same. Anyone using that at this point, like I understand people that used it for a week or two because they hadn't seen the pictures, hadn't had time to investigate it. They heard it. They repeated it. That was months ago. People started floating this as a comparison. Anyone still using that today is dishonest. They're lying to you. They are absolutely flat out lying to your face. Never in recorded history has anyone been shot directly in the neck at this angle and have it stop that I'm aware of. There are people that shot all kinds of angles where it comes down like and enters the body and goes down that way. But a 9-degree angle, you will not find one. Every other example you hear, one guy got shot in the neck and it ended up in his butt. How much tissue is that? In his butt. You have no idea what angle these people were at on the battlefield. You have no idea what angle they were at on the balcony in the hotel in Memphis. But the Martin Luther King thing is so fundamentally dishonest that anybody still pushing that is a liar. They are not honest because the evidence is there. They can go look at it themselves. They can read the report. The autopsy report is public. You can read it. Millions of people investigating through Candace and my B was not accounted for. Agreed. My B, sending you and your family prayers. You've given so many people a reason to believe that good still exists. So honored to be part of this. Jury Go Max. Thank you for spelling honored with you. I'm honored. That means we got an overseas honorer. How does TPUSA staff know that TR met with them? Like, here's the thing. If the police know that, in all likelihood, they've confirmed it with the person. Hey, we have it on camera and it looks like you. We showed the picture to people at TPUSA. They said it's you. Do you remember meeting the guy? Yeah, I remember meeting him. He was kind of a weirdo. Or We sat down and plotted out an assassination. I don't know what he said, but if the police did not find that guy and talk to him, then there's a total cover up. I'll just admit that. Like, there are so many leads that are not being investigated properly by the police or the defense or the prosecution. So many. Like basic stuff, not crazy conspiracy, basic stuff. Eyewitness testimony who recorded a guy on the roof who says, I saw him. Here's what he was wearing. Here's what the gun looked like. I'm a tactical expert. I know what you're talking about. Here's where I work. Blah, 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 blah. That's what he was wearing. No phone call from the prosecution. No phone call from the defense. Charlie wore a suit for that restaurant interview. Also appears to be full body prep for a wake. Makeup on hands even. Fastest Emmy and mortuary ever. Thanks for all you do, Baron. Yeah, I mean, he was photo ready. He was photo ready. I'm going to double check the suit thing. I don't think that's accurate, but I'll look. Charlie Kirk, restaurantology. That's not a suit. That is, those are pants and a blue blazer. And I am fairly confident that is not the same blue blazer he was in. But I'll go back and look. That's a good lead. I'll go back and look. But that's not a suit because they don't match. Or else he's taken the pants to the cleaners way too many times because they're different shades. Like one looks gray, one looks blue. I don't want to do one of those like, is this a blue dress or a white dress? We're not playing that game. But they don't look the same to me. But thank you. That's a good lead. I'll check it out. See if they're the same. I don't think they're the same. I still think the 223 shells a distraction. AR-15s come in the same caliber as 30-06, called 300 Blackout. Smaller cartridge, less powerful, quieter like 223. You can actually get a subsonic 300 Blackout that make a little noise, but not a lot. And if you shoot them suppressed, you can almost not hear them at all. You hear a little zzz. They don't break the sound barrier. They don't fly very fast either. Not wildly inaccurate from distance, but generally I understand what you're saying. And I don't think the 300 Blackout is the same width. A 300 Blackout is a true 0.30, I believe. A 30-06 is 0.308, and that's the bore diameter. So a bore is not a perfect circle. When they say 0.308, they're talking about the smallest part of the bore. There's actually little pressure things in the bore that look like a gear, right? So the bore is not smooth. They have little things in them. They go wider, but they're just almost imperceptible to the eye. But if you get the right equipment or you know what you're looking for, you can see it. And it is actually wider than 0.308. It's actually wider than 0.308. So, yeah, we'll have to. I mean, I don't think that bullet fragment is a 30-06 that they're pawning off as one. LT used the word seen correctly at least once. Language level seemed no higher than incorrectly at least once. Language level seemed no higher than 6th grade. So could he be acting during testimony, or it may not be him on Reddit, meant to attract a patsy? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. He could have been logging in. Someone else could have been logging in under his name. I don't know. Good call. Hey, B. Hearing you talk about the funeral video with EK and her behavior with the potential borrowed suit made my skin crawl, like accidentally swiping and seeing a pimple popping video. Yuck. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm speculating on all that stuff. The timeline, I don't have nailed down exactly. Suit, I'm assuming was borrowed. It did not look like his suit. The tie certainly did not look like his. But I mean, it's creepy. All of it's creepy. Crawling in your casket, or the whole thing with the mic was creepy. The picture, frankly, is creepy too. Why would you post that picture? CK suit wasn't full button. Could EK bring it? I don't know what that means. Wasn't full button. Thanks again, Baron. Truly a gift from our Lord. The Baron sandwich is a hit. I have folks that come every week for it. I call my wife my love. I'm going to get over there and get that sandwich. I've already talked to Mrs. Coleman about it, that we need to find a Saturday where we can get over there. I just don't see it happening during the week. But I do see it happening on a Saturday before baseball season kicks back. So I'll call ahead and make sure you're going to be there. I'd like to beat you. Say hey. But yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. My love. Very sweet. You and Tyler both. Maybe LT Ultra activated after Reddit posts. Christ is King indeed. Could be. Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson posted a video together 9 months ago. Duly noted. Lance had to trap Tyler, not act crazy from the beginning. He wouldn't be the first. Regarding the suit in the coffin, Charlie was much taller than average. Did the sleeves appear too short? Doubt the bottom button of slacks were visible, but if so, same question applies. Oh, bottom of slacks were visible. No, the bottom of the slacks were not. In a casket, they don't show the feet. I doubt they even wear shoes in there. I don't know. Never seen a full corpse. I don't think. Only just see them from the waist up. Reminds me of a funny joke. Reminds me of a very funny joke. I probably shouldn't tell this, but I'm going to. There's a funeral director. Lady's husband dies. She takes it in and she says, "Oh gosh, husband died. I always loved the way he looked in a blue suit, but I can't find his blue suit. I don't know if he got rid of it. He didn't wear suits very often. Is there any way you can put him in a blue suit?" And the guy said, "Yeah, put him in a blue suit. But I brought him in a suit just in case. I brought a charcoal suit here. If you can't find a blue one, put him in the charcoal." "Okay, yeah, we'll do that." About an hour later, here's the bell ding. Lady comes in. Different lady. And she says, "Hey, my husband died." Shock. He's here. I've got a blue suit for him. I always liked the way he looked in charcoal, though. I went home, I looked, couldn't find the charcoal suit. Don't know if it's at the cleaners. Don't know if he got rid of it. Didn't wear suits all that much. Could you put him in a blue suit? And the guy's like, yeah, blue suit. And the guy's like, "Yeah, sure." So he gets to the back and he starts thinking, I can solve this. One lady brings a guy who is in a charcoal suit but wants a blue suit. Another lady brings in a guy who's in a blue suit but he wants a charcoal suit. So they go to the funeral. Lady shows up, open casket. She looks. Husband's in a blue suit. Looks spectacular. She's just smitten. Like, this is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. She's overwhelmed with emotion. She goes up and hugs the funeral director and then goes on. Next couple hours later, another lady comes in. "This is amazing. My husband was there in the wrong suit. I come in, he's in the charcoal suit. He's never looked better a day in his life. He looks so peaceful. Thank you." Like, "Yeah, no sweat." Goes out in the hallway and the two ladies are there together. And the one lady overhears the other lady telling the story. She goes, "That's crazy. My husband came in and I brought him in a blue suit. He needed a charcoal suit." She goes, "My husband came in a charcoal suit. He needed a blue suit." And the lady said, "Did you just switch the suits?" He said, "No, I switched the heads." That's one of my favorite jokes. That's my second favorite joke. I can't tell you I could tell you my first favorite joke, but it's long. Maybe one day. Maybe we'll get there. That might be a member show joke. That's my second favorite joke. That's my second favorite joke. Where would we be if this happened in the 90s and we only had fake news reporting? Thank you for looking into what really happened to Charlie Kirk. Christ is king indeed. You know where we'd be. You can go through all the 90s stories and figure it out. I mean, Oklahoma City bombing, Waco, Ruby Ridge. You know where we'd be. Those made news for like a week and then they were gone. No one looked into them. And the people who did look into them were kooks. That's what they were told. That's what we were told. Blake, Frank, and Danny Phillip just chilling and marking time in a Dodge Challenger, meeting with TR in the morning and carpooling to pick him up that night. I think Frank was with Charlie in Salt Lake. So it'd be Blake and Danny. But I don't know if they're marking time in a Dodge Challenger. They said they were in an SUV. I just want to know where. Where'd you go? I know it's not on your script. Yeah, think about it. Oh, big guy. And think about it. I remember seeing a video online a few days after Charlie's passing. It was taken just before Charlie went out to debate at UVU. It was a video taken by a girl talking to Charlie while another girl installed his microphone. Well, you didn't see it very well because a man installed his microphone. His name is Philip Goldsberry Jr. But I saw that video. Carhartt is flame resistant. Calculated choice for the occasion. Test videos show the shirts don't carry a flame, but they do look like burnt cardboard. Is that true? Carhartt flame resistant? Not all. They do have flame resistant gear. But I don't think that particular shirt is flame resistant. Boy, wouldn't that be a lead? Wouldn't that be a lead? I don't think that t-shirt is flame resistant. It's not on their flame resistant part of their website. But we can look into you can look into. Let me know how it turns out. Keep digging. Find that white t-shirt. Lance reposted many deep and weird posts on TikTok. Seems like he could have had a dark inner world ruminating mind. Maybe. My family haven't been in the high IQ outfit after trial. They kind of believe Fed slop. They're not liberal at all, but makes me worry about how this trial will go with people who haven't dug into this and believe it. Well, ideally, the trial will consist of people who have not heard much about it and have not formed an opinion. That's the idea behind a jury. Lance was into trans issues. It makes perfect sense for him to investigate Jordan Peterson. JP got famous for refusing to comply with Canada's pronoun speech laws. Fair enough. She said she dressed him in his wedding suit, I believe, and kept one of the buttons. Oh, yeah, but that wasn't the Utah suit. That had to be a different one. Kept one of the buttons. Typically, hearse curtains are closed when carrying a casket. Used to work at a funeral home. Odd that back window curtains are open, especially for someone like Charlie Kirk. Let me go back to the run. Was it open? Arrives at Salt Lake City Airport. By George, it is. Interesting. Good catch. Is that like a standard practice, or is that just something you've noticed? Baron, number one fan here in Perth, Western Australia. I know where Perth is. Love your work. VP and Daisy, obscure search engine result for D-Hull in Australia. The Daily Inner Lake, a Kalispell, Montana news outlet. Kalispell. February 2010, birth notice. Christ is king. D-Hull in Australia? I'm going to add Kalispell since you said it's in there. I don't see it. What'd you say? A Daily Interlake. Got it. But I don't. That's from 1941. He's not that old. I don't even think he's my age. I could be wrong. Why not cross-examine asking if a gunshot residue test was done? They may already know the answer and don't care to draw attention. I don't know. Avid PU orderer of apparel here. It is actually quite fast. If the pickup time was 11:15, then 12 p.m. is likely. I'll tell my husband I was finally able to use my shopping skills for good. See, you're helping, Kelly Cornog. Tell Mr. Cornog it's all right with me. You do a little shopping tomorrow on me. Well, I'm not going to pay for it, but you know what I mean. Don't send me the bill. I won't pay it. But if the pickup time was 11:15, so if the order was placed at 11:10, you're thinking 12? You got to get back to the hotel. You got to change. You got to get in the car. You got to drive to Draper. That's even tightening the time. I was being generous at 11:30. Blake Snuff. Blake Snuff. He's into tobacco. Bald guy driving the Challenger with 3 passengers. Well, that's your opinion. Andrew Colvette, Tyler Boyer, Frank Turek. No, I wouldn't put any of the, well, maybe Tyler, but I wouldn't put the other two in there. I don't think Tyler would either. My B, Kangaroo Court. Tyler Robinson defense requests no cameras. This was needed for the overwhelming narrative. Seems coordinated by judge, defense, prosecutor, and EK. Is defense complicit? Christ is king. Keep going, Max. I don't know. It's a good question. Bubba Baron, OMG, afraid they're going to off them both. T and L. Oh, Tyler and Lance. Christ is king indeed. I hope not. I hope no one else gets hurt. You know, sounds like whatever they have on him is really bad. He sounds like a reasonable thinker. Christ is king indeed. I can't imagine what his internet habits look like. The singing needs to be your intro music. Oh, no. We're not doing that. No. Julian Dory had Joseph Scott Morgan on yesterday. He's very familiar with the Utah Emmys office. I won't tell you to go listen to it, but I appreciated him breaking down the procedure. I will listen to that part. I've seen a couple clips of it, and that's who, he's a sharp guy. He's a sharp guy. Might have talked about this before, but how exactly did Blake and Mikey specifically get to the hospital? Did they walk to a car, perhaps one of the mini Dodge Challengers spotted around campus? I mean, there were lots of black SUVs there. Probably took one of those. Ed, sir, may I be excused from class tomorrow night? The boy and I have his 21st birthday plans. I promise to catch up my homework. Thank you for understanding, Edge. Anytime. Have you heard any research on flock cams capturing plates at all during this investigation? Since it's for our safety. I know his license plate was searched on the flock cameras, but I don't know if they were captured on the flock cameras or what time. But I know they were searched. Baron, LOL, bring out the trans. I was laughing too hard. Thought of Monty Python. Bring out your dead. Gong. Christ, love. One love. Christ is king. Indeed. Keep at it. Great show. Thank you. Clearest image of TR we have on that day came from Dairy Queen. Yes, we even got to zoom in on his tendies. A box of tendies. Everybody loves the Dairy Queen tendies. If TR wasn't meant to live, you can understand why he has a smug face. And it's interesting to think who he's smuggling looking at. Yeah, maybe. LMAO, please use your facial expressions in one of your clips vids whilst speaking of how we are given LT evidence testimony. Pretty please. Christ is king indeed. My facial expressions? I don't know what those are. I'm not like Jim Carrey. Saw your Steve Flowers interview. Oh, gosh. Were you representing Mickey D's back then? You were looking a little supersized. I was representing Hendrix Jen. Yeah, it was bad era for Barron. Remember Candace, episode 245. She showed 3 guys. One of them, she didn't know who he is. He was at the CK event, minute 12:39 on the right of Adam Barr video, but you have to slow the video. Christ is king indeed. 3 guys. One of them, she didn't know who he is. He was at the CK event at 12:39 on the right of Adam Bartholomew. Okay. What about it? What? I don't know what point you're making. Is it somebody you think you recognize? Let me go back to this one for a second, because the funny thing about this comment, the guy who interviewed me on, no, I'm sorry, it's Steve Flowers. Different interview. Never mind. Scratch that. There's another interview floating around out there. And the guy who interviewed me, he was famous for passing out McDonald's coupons because he represented McDonald's. And so every time you saw him, he's like, here, have $5 off on me. You would get a stack of them if you needed them. Like if you told him you're hungry, he'd give you a stack of them. Remember sorry, I already read that. Wasn't he 6'5"? Wouldn't be easy to grab someone's suit. They bought clothes for everyone but the dead guy, maybe the funeral home loans clothes. Ooh. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't see any flowers. None of his friends stopped and brought flowers. In that X base, Blake said he went back to Orem to the scene to help. Is there proof he ever left Orem, or was he in Salt Lake? Well, you should have kept listening, because he said he never went to Salt Lake. He stayed in Orem. He stayed in Orem that night in a hotel. He doesn't remember if he left the hotel. He might have stepped out. Thinks he stepped out. Doesn't remember where he went. Not on the script. Well, I don't know why you would bring flowers if you're only going to be there an hour. It wasn't a funeral. But Baron, is it possible that what Erika did the photo op with was not Charlie's body? God bless you, your high IQ, and the blabbing. Christ is king indeed. Possible? Yeah. Totally one of the creepiest things you can contemplate? Also, yeah. Is it hard to conceive that many? It is hard to conceive that many people were sitting, waiting, hoping for the news that Tyler's life was ended and their reactions when he was safely in custody. Creepy. If we're right and there was some sort of a plot, then yeah, that would be creepy. The math ain't mathing on Twiggs, TR, etc. If Twiggs is a Fed, CI, or otherwise, perhaps he was supposed to post on Reddit for the Feds as well. Maybe. I don't know. Hey, Baron, lagging a little behind, but listen to all the Lance Twiggs media posts. I just wanted to let you know, if you see Lance, tell him to call me. We can hang out. Seems like a likable guy. I mean, he seemed pretty reasonable in those posts. Like, he doesn't live the lifestyle I would live, but, you know, not every friend I have lives the lifestyle I would live. They seem pretty reasonable, most of them. Photo's ears look like cauliflower ears. Jiu-jitsu. Yeah, maybe. They don't look like his ears. At this point, TPUSA sounds more guilty than TRLT. They certainly seem like they're holding back. Like, why wouldn't you have told us 10 months ago, Tyler Robinson talked to one of your people? You could have diffused that so easy by just admitting it. Just admitting it. In the craziest turn of events, he actually walked up and talked to one of our people. Can you believe that? What a psycho. Instead, you wait until it comes out of preliminary hearing and it looks like you've been hiding it for 10 months. That does not bode well. Justice is blind. But the FBI also, apparently. Allegedly. Authenticity is currency. Thanks for being UB. Thank you. Very kind. I've watched you since early October. Love your show. It was the name calling and referring to you to Candace as a demon that led me to watch her. Now I never miss an episode of either of you. Thank you. Yeah, I think that happens a lot. I certainly go watch somebody if I hear him being attacked. I'm like, what are they attacking this guy for? So I found Owen Benjamin. He cracked me up. How did they get Charlie's body back to Arizona so quickly? My mom passed in Salt Lake City. We live in Idaho. Took 3 days because we were told it was illegal to transport across state lines before embalming. Thanks. Christ is king indeed. Maybe they embalmed him in that 6-8 hour window. I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. A really good question. Just wanted to ask for some prayers. It's been a really rough couple of weeks, and I'm having a hard time letting anxiety go. I'm not sure what else to do. Love y'all. Yeah, I'm not sure either. I jokingly say I gave up anxiety, and I did, really. I don't really get anxiety anymore. I used to get it bad. Dev, let me say this. This world is not your home. The world is not your home. If you live in a tent, in a homeless camp down by the river, it's still just a short period of time. If everyone you know turns their back on you and hates you, short period of time. You have all of eternity to look forward to. All of eternity. Nothing here can change that. So don't let it get to you. Keep your eyes fixed on what matters. Best show yet. Thank you for all you guys do. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you. Very kind of you. Aurora, Colorado shooter father, lead scientist at FICO. LIBOR scandal. EK tweet, friend at the shooting. FICO headquarters equals Bozeman. Big banking angle. Thank you. I'm doing a lot of banking research here lately. Hey, Baron, thanks for your reporting on the case. I started reacting to Candace on my channel. Sarah Tegg, you and Lionel have just said, do it yourself. You should do it yourself, Sarah Tegg. And for a long time, you'll be talking to yourself for just a few people. I did it for a long time. You'll get better, though. You'll get better. You'll sharpen your craft. I have a question about the lady testifying. Do you think she was terrified or always talks with a stutter? I've never heard a stutter like that. You're amazing. I chalked it up to terrified, but if she talked with a stutter, it's not like she can help it. Not something you could judge someone by. She just seemed really nervous to me, like the way she was moving and her voice cracks and hesitations. But if she's a stutter, that doesn't bother me either. It doesn't bother me that she's nervous. She probably realized she was being streamed out to hundreds of thousands of people. Not a lot of people like to talk in public, much less to lots of people. Some of us don't mind it. I used to mind it. You get used to it. If they convict TR, it's safe to say we'll lose faith in our judicial system. My fear is, what will they try and concoct to make this all go away? They're too involved and too far gone. Charlie is rooting us on. God is good. Well, let's wait and see what the evidence is. It might be overwhelming. I just can't imagine it is with the way the case has developed to date. But I reserve judgment. I'm open to the fact it was Charlie on the Losi Center roof of the 30-6. I've just seen no evidence of that. I mean, almost none. I've seen overwhelming evidence that leads me to believe I have tremendous doubt in that story. Regarding the defense, I wonder what TR is telling them. How would they know about the steakhouse if he doesn't disclose this info? I mean, if I'm the defense, I'm watching Candace and Barron, and I'm looking at X, and I'm following along all the different things, and I'm, the defense needs to open every door, every cabinet, every bureau drawer. I mean, everything needs to be open. Was there ever a video picture that captures the bullet in motion? Not that I'm aware of, but that doesn't mean much because bullets are nearly impossible to catch in motion unless you're using highly sensitive equipment. So that would be rare. That'd be a rare feat. I bet, did anyone try to interview the people that were going up and down the stairway? Hello from Mobile, Alabama. I can't say what anyone tried to do. I don't know. But welcome in to the first Mardi Gras in America, allegedly. Christ is King indeed. Thank you, Daylene. Very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. I just got into a viral comment with my wife because I listened to you. Do me right. I believe in. You believe in what? Did she do you in? I believe in what? I got bad news. Someone check on Sean if you know him. Sean Doberman. Check on Sean. He was mid-comment saying he just got into an argument with his wife and stopped. At least he hit send. Maybe she hit send. That's the last comment you'll ever make. I hope that's not true. If so, and I laughed about it, I feel really bad. But someone follow up with Sean. Sounded like Stripes, and that's a fact, Jack. That's a good movie. Was a fake hand in the casket footage? I don't think so, but I don't know. Luna Lancey was a furry. Luna Lancey had no animal fuzz. If Luna Lancey had no animal fuzz, Luna Lancey wasn't a furry, was he? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm confused. Don't drop the Montana connections. There are some gun manufacturing in connection with Sheehy and Zinke, both military. Sheehy just joined Navy Reserve. Thank you. I was joking about hanging out with Lance Twiggs, but all jokes aside, I have a hard time finding employees in his age range, and judging by his social media posts, I think he's a Fed. I think he is too. Hey, bro, I got it. Your twin is Jeremy Sladen. Jay Slay said he'd love to have you on his show. My twin is Jeremy Sladen? I know who Jeremy Sladen is, but I've never seen him. He's not my twin. We don't look anything like each other. Do we? I know he lives near me. Did I give out too much? I shouldn't have said that. I'll read. I know how to get in touch with him. I'll reach out to him. Remember Pam Bondi's Binders release? Smells like pretrial. Yes, good catch. Same Fed sloppers pushing it too. For Ben and Daisy to read later. Oh, no, I'll read it now. The Reddits are not by Twiggs. His language isn't consistent with a kid raised LDS. Evangelical means something different to LDS. If these posts were from 3 years ago, then that's when planning began to take out Charlie Kirk. That's a really disturbing thought. Be critical info. You got my attention. I believe I've connected Blakey to Johnny. I've emailed you info to you and Candace. Thank you for all you do. I think that's too hard of a connection to make. I think we'll work with Andrew. It's pretty connected. What in the water bottles in the SUV have blood all over them? They were right under where Charlie was being worked on. Well, we don't know where they were when he was in the car. Could have been anywhere. And one of them, I think, did have a blood smear on it. Nails are definitely not maroon, but more darker coral. Pretty. Duly noted. Thank you. In the video where the gray SUV pulls over, did you notice the white SUV that drove past Tyler before he got to the corner? Looked like the white SUV from the other two videos, black wheels and all. I will go back and check that. Good catch. That's a very good catch. Good check. I'll check. Visually failed operation. 3 coordinated shots. Number 1, drone sniper to head. Shape charger mic. Cutler's palm pistol shot to release massive blood spurt from chest, not neck. Failed. First, I thank you for your generous contribution. Second, I am a big believer that there was no palm pistol. I challenge anyone in America to pull up a palm pistol and fire without ever steadying it in motion the whole time and be any kind of accurate from 30, 40 yards, 25, 30 yards. That is impossible. Impossible. So let's put palm pistol aside. Drone sniper. I admit it, I don't know all the high-tech military technology that exists. But the sniper drones I'm aware of are massive platforms. Like they're this big. I see no evidence of one of those. And it would have to stop and steady and shoot. I totally discount that as well. But I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to all this. Show me somebody who's good with a palm pistol and maybe I'll change my mind. But I will say there was no recoil, there was no smoke, there was no muzzle flash. So I'm very not open to that one, but I'll lie to you and tell you I'm open to it. But it would take some serious convincing. Drone sniper, I'm not open to really, but if you show me a picture of one or show me one that works that might go undetected at an event like that, maybe. If you're going to go through all that and you're going to shoot anyway, just put someone on a roof. I mean, that's the easiest thing to do if you're going to use a bullet. Way easy. And they had someone on a roof. Way easier than all that. Hey, Baron, do you think the 30-06 caliber had already been chosen in anticipation of the damage that the mic was supposed to cause when it exploded? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, again, I'm not married to the exploded mic, but if a mic exploded, I think it would be a lot more likely in the chest area to look like a 30-06 than a wound to the neck. Curious if the clock part of why his hands brought so much attention in photo op. Naturally, the skin will start to look purple after passing. If they had to rush the suit and makeup, it would make sense. Is that a clock? Oh, the time? You're saying the time component? Why is I don't know. I don't know what all that means. But thank you. It would be interesting to get in touch with the funeral home to get the story about the casket pick, the suit, etc. Good work on figuring out where he was taken. Don't contact the funeral home. Don't contact the funeral. We do not need 800 people calling the funeral home tomorrow. That's not why I said where it was. So please don't contact the funeral. Please say hello to my sister Vienna. She overhears me listening to you almost daily and gets a kick out of your sense of humor. Here's to 6 months of high IQ membership. Wow, you've been around a long time. Hello, Vienna. Hello. Named after a beautiful city. Based on the lack of shadow in the hearse picture, it looks like it was taken around noon. Well, I don't think that's accurate. I'll go back to it one more time. Actually, it does look like that, but I'm pretty confident we have a time. We ought to look at, actually, you know what? We ought to look at the, I'm putting this on the run for tomorrow. We need to look at the shadow calculator because that's a really good point. We were told that picture was around 3:30. And we were told, but we have not, shadow calculator hearse SLC. There we go. We were told that's when it was. But that's a really good point because that shadow looks really, really short. But maybe that's what the shadow was in Salt Lake City in September at 3:00. We'll find out. Good catch. Good catch. That's why we do the shows. That's why they can't stand that we do the shows. Stone gray hoodie, not to be confused with same color stone they used to pave over the crime scene of the decade within 5 days that Erika had never mentioned or found weird. Christ is king indeed. I don't think it's stone gray. Maybe it's not coming across well, but maybe. What if Twiggs' parents made a deal to cooperate with the PSYOP on conditions of money and that Lance returns to being a man? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. Thank you, Mrs. Coleman. We appreciate you keeping GBC grounded. Oh, and she does. And she does, indeed. You have to change the notification option in your actual YouTube settings. Now I get 900 a day. I used to not get any just by clicking the bell. Oh, duly noted. I will remind people at the start of the next show. Hey, Baron. Oh, I don't want people getting 900. I'll get lost. Does the guy in the stairwell have a full set of teeth? Hard to see through the blurry image, but I don't think he does. Doesn't look like Tyler's mouth. Thanks for all you do. Go Max. I don't know. Challenger at the airport may not be Tyler's, but could be the decoy seen with Baldy driving. Well, that's a good point. Because there was also a great Challenger at the McDonald's across the street from UVU around 11 o'clock, give or take. And I've often thought that could have been a decoy, like a late night decoy. Unsettling what Pierce and Megan are doing. They're playing along or think we're stupid. Go Max. Christ is king. Indeed. Breast from Australia. I don't put much past Pierce or Megan. Hey, Baron, we chatted about a month ago. My lineman said, thank you for your appreciation. Pico's, Philadelphia Electric Company. First strike just ended last week. We've been on vacation, of course. Well, I'm glad he's back to work. I have a lot of respect for what the linemen do. But Baron, I know it's been mentioned before, but check out electric. Yeah, I will. I promise. There's something to do with the necklace movement. Thanks for all you do. It's on my list. I'll put it on tomorrow's list and I'll look at it. I will look at it. I'll put it back on the list. Baron, love you for all you do. Sending immense gratitude to and for Nurse Casey for her help getting me unblocked. God is blessing you with amazing support. Christ is King indeed. Jesus loves you, and so do I. I love you too, Lady Liberty, for you. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing and pointing out. Thank you for what you're doing and pointing out. Amy loves music. We love Amy. Everybody, hey, rewatch the opening credits of Mel Gibson's movie Conspiracy Theory and then watch tonight's opening statement again. Was it good? I don't think I've ever seen it. Opening credits of Conspiracy Theory. Byron, perhaps LT's sane posts were before the shrooms. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, maybe. Or the programming. Allegedly. B, that's how you knew Candace's nail color. Sunday Fun Day Burning Party. My mom is a nail tech and said colors coral with frost, but for a man, not bad. Hey, don't give away all my secrets. Don't give away all my secrets. I thought it looked maroon to me. Goff Fort Hood in Google Trends. Insider to dress body. Goff. Oh, funeral home. I thought Fort Hood, Fort Huachuca. That's a good one too. I have to go back to the old system and look at that. You guys are good tonight. Oh, please. That's a good one. Thank you. Blakey said in the first X Space he stayed in Orem the night of the 10th. When asked in another, he said he misspoke and stayed with the rest of the crew. Totally weird to forget. Is that true? Did he really correct that? Because he was confident he stayed in Orem. If he is going back, Blake in Orem or SLC X Space. If he changed that story, that is, as the kids say, sus. Don't need to read this one on the show, sir. Just want to say it's cool to see a fellow Hoosier doing good work like you and getting close to the truth. Yikes. Keep going, bro. Thank you. Maybe that wasn't CK she was crying over it. Ugh, I hope so. That would be totally creepy. Like, can I borrow a stiff? I don't care who it is. They got clothes on, right? Whatever happened to sending bodies to the crime lab? Did they skip this in Utah? Yeah, I think that's with the medical examiner's office. That's allegedly what they did. Baron, please pray for me. My husband left me for another woman today. Oh, my goodness gracious, Queenie Darlene. Lord have mercy. Didn't that happen? Didn't somebody else comment on that in the last few days? Sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that. And I will pray for you, Queenie Darlene. Why was Twiggs wearing Rutgers University joggers when he was film pumping gas? Some sort of East Coast connection? I don't know. I don't know. He wears a lot of R gear. If you go back and watch the I Don't Give a Dom Lance Twiggs series, it's like 4 episodes and it's great. The Twiggs family series. There's some Rutgers. It has to be some Rutgers connection because he's in a lot of Rutgers gear. Just like Crooks, they washed all the evidence away immediately. Indeed. Moon Goddess. PT got me falling asleep and missing my bee. I hate it. I hate it too. Tell your doc I'm going to give you permission to skip if it's going to cause you to miss the show. Regarding Charlie's hands in caskets, I remember very vividly my brother's hands being smaller in his casket. That might make sense. I mean, I don't know. Do your hands have a bunch of fluid in them and they suck in? You know what I mean? When there's no fluid. Sending from 35,000 feet, first class and Wi-Fi. Life is good. Thanks be. Christ is king indeed. You're living up there in the high life. Look at you. Questioning everything. First class. Wow. Why not call Tyler's attorney? I'm not give their number out. Why don't anyone call them, please? No one. That is not why we do these shows, is to harass his attorneys or call his attorneys or anything else. And if I needed to call them, I could find a number. You don't have to give me a number. Was that not a Dodge Challenger leaving before the white car when you were discussing the gray SUV yesterday? Yes, but it's the wrong color, I believe. But we can go back and look at it. There's some reason I dismissed it, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, please. I'm late. Bought a house today. Yes. Best nights of bear nights. Yes. The detailed work you do is critical. Grateful for high IQ, cruise, and laughs. Congratulations on the house purchase. That's amazing. For the vast majority of us, the house will be the biggest thing you ever buy. Most important thing you ever buy. Hey, Baron, love the show. Have you seen Ian Went's video on Facebook about Dan Flood looking at Mikey McCoy taking a photo the minute before his death? Christ is king indeed. I've not seen his video on it, but I have looked at that. Yeah. My sister worked for Lance's grandfather. She said the grandfather's pretty disgusted with that family. They're constantly looking for a way to make a buck. And Lance was crazy. Okay. I know that they have an interesting history with finances and mortgages and all kinds of filings, like business filings. Yeah, they're following their family's history is nuts. New York Medical College, Valhalla. Johns Hopkins residency for the new Duchess. Me. Johns Hopkins deep intel national security ties are hard to ignore. Messiah? I don't know what any of that means. It sounds like you got a new residency. For the new Duchess medical examiner. I see what you're saying. I think what you're saying is the new medical examiner went to New York Medical College Valhalla, then went to Johns Hopkins residency, and you have trouble ignoring that intel connection. Hi, Baron from Colorado. Yes, Victor Marks Land. Pray for us. Just wondering if you could shout out Mickey Keller for putting me on to you months ago. Of course, Mickey Keller. She sounds brilliant. Brilliant. I just thought. I bet they didn't try to bury him. They can't. If what Candace found is true. First time super chat ever. You were awesome, refreshing, and awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for this community of truth seekers. Christ is king indeed. Mercy. Jack P. just went on CK show after preliminary and stated the zoomed in video. You can see him working to assemble the rifle. That proves the lies. Flood the zone. Are those even Charlie's children? Also feel, I'm not going to speculate on that. I assume they are. They're putative children under the law, at the very least. Also feel the reason there's so many holes is it's a movie. He's alive, but people within his company had plots, so they faked it to flush and find depth. Is that real? I don't think he's alive. I don't know. Thank you for all you do. Keep going, Baxter. We'll do. The question then is, which TPUSA reps were late that morning? Who was planning on being there at 8:30, then didn't show up till just before Tyler got out of his car? It's a good question. I think if Blake had flown directly to Provo and not Salt Lake, he would have been there at that time. But I don't want to say that that's why he was sitting in his car. But that's a good question. You're awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Baron just got home from my women's softball league. You're still live? Can't wait to catch up on tonight's episode. Donation for your pup. Thank you. We're still quite live. Hey, B, let me clarify. When going upstairs, he starts going up right side. The second video, he's going up left side. Stairs don't rotate that way. I've noticed that, and I think people were saying that there must have been mirrored images, but I don't know. Ratsamam really needs to get her sheets together. Okay. Duly noted. It's common for funeral homes to have loaner suits for those who can't afford one or have atypical situations like Charlie. My dad's a pastor and has seen these used for his parishioners. Duly noted, cheeky mama. Thank you. I appreciate that. Data shows most donations after tragedies come in first 2 to 3 days when emotions and media attention peak. Fundraisers know this. Casket video. Yeah. But that's manipulative. Do you think Lance's interrogation was AI? I don't know about AI, but it seems like there's something really off about the production quality. Really, really off. That so off it might be messed with. Twiggs phone text message photos. He's wearing the same coat and possibly outfit he was pictured in pumping gas in February. September 12th must have been chilly in Utah. Duly noted. OMG, it was Bigfoot. I knew it. It was Bigfoot. Any thought to FOIA-ing flock municipal cameras? Yeah, we've thought about it. Within my radio. Yeah. Anyone's welcome to try. And under Utah law, it's called GRAMA, GRAMA. Maybe a bunch of GRAMA requests will help move that process along, but it's been tried. Funeral home may have provided clothes. Agreed. Maybe. Love this high IQ outfit. Thanks for everything. But again, if the funeral home provided the clothes, it would have been just for like an hour. Do they do that for an hour? Like I imagine it's hard putting a suit on a dead body. Put the suit on, get the hair on, get the makeup all right, open the casket, do the photo, close the casket, get everything off, close the casket, get him shipped out. I just don't. That smells weird to me. That smells like burnt milk. Love this high Q outfit. Thanks for everything you do, team. Did you score some goat water at Sam's? I did not, but I did score some goat water. But I didn't get it at Sam's. Sam's is not close. Charlie, it's close, but it's not that close. Charlie had an interview prior to UVU. I think he had a sports jacket on. Prayers for my husband. He had emergency 6-hour surgery for an aneurysm behind his left knee. He needed a bypass in his leg. I've never even heard of that. That's crazy. But yeah, prayers indeed for Cindy Cook, for your husband there. Absolutely. Sent you really important emails about details during Lance's interrogation. You could have sent me a really important chat, and it would have been much more likely to have been consumed. In your next live, called The Cars, following Tyler's at 107:31. When you zoom in, you see the man next to the interrogator make a clear hand gesture. Tell Lance to change the subject. Utter bull butter shirt. Utter bull butter. That's it, is utter bull butter. Blakey said the cops took him and Mikey to the hospital on X Place, Louisiana space. Okay. There you go. There's your answer. I didn't listen to all his spaces. I listened to clips. I wonder if there were any Google searches. The steakhouse that was 3 hours away prior to September 10th, maybe from our greatest ally. I didn't check that. My Carhartt fire-resistant work shirts have a tag sewn on the outside of the shirt stating the amount of fire protection provided. Yeah, I didn't see any t-shirt. I didn't see any white t-shirts in there. Are we 100% sure TR was at Dairy Queen? Love this high IQ podcast. Go Max, Christ is King indeed. No, you can't be 100% sure of anything. It could be Photoshop. It could be someone else, some lookalike. It was a pretty clear picture. We also don't know a time. Candace was told 6:38, but we have no way to verify that. Could have been 5:38. Maybe their clock was off an hour. Could have been 6:38, some other time zone, right? Like the clock was set to the wrong time zone. Clock could have just been wrong. Could have been like 3:47 in the afternoon. We don't know. So there's no way to know for sure what time. And I guess there's no way to know for sure it was him. It looked like him. Admittedly, looked just like him. And Brother B, check the video of TR sitting in the parking lot for 1 hour. Sunny spot, barely moved. Can't be 1 hour. Edited timestamps? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But if you go back to the cars, mind all the other stuff. If you look at the front lip, one comes to a point, one is rounded. Duly noted. So appreciate your content and take on everything. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Off topic, but heard you mention Garth Brooks on Monday. Did you know people think he's a serial K-er? I did. I watched a whole podcast about it one time. It's like 3 hours. It was crazy. But I also see the other side of it, that people die every day, everywhere. So, and he goes to big cities, and oftentimes big cities have high murder rates, and there's often murders or people go missing. So I understand there could be total coincidence, but I heard that. I did hear that. I don't believe it, but I heard it. Charlie Kirk in Japan, September 7. Second button is Japan tradition. Barry, my cult leader doesn't want me to listen to you. Candace, everything was great. So before, when everyone drank to Kool-Aid, your cult leader, maybe get a new cult. Happy to email whole Kalispell search results if you're interested. I mean, you can send it. Just put whole Kalispell in the subject. Take a look at it. Hope there's BTS clips of experiment at Candace's. Oh, behind the scene clips. My cult leader doesn't want me to listen to you in Candace anymore. Everything was so great before, when everyone drank the Kool-Aid. I kind of interpreted that correctly. Does anyone know where Charlie's suit came from that he was wearing in the casket? We just did a whole show on that. Like 40 comments. Thank you. Asked Diligent about Blake changing where he stayed. He was in both X Lives, I believe. Diligent Denizen? Hold, please. I will ask before I forget. Did Blake change his story about staying in Provo? ? We'll find out. Assuming he sees it and texts back relatively promptly. Actually, he's probably doing an X-Space. Do you really think we'll ever know what happened? The courtroom shenanigans that you and Zach exposed concerning the 4K HD overwhelming evidence seemed news enough to get covered by the broader media, yet silence. Yeah. I don't know. Notice two things. The text pics. The phone screen goes from cracked in the first picture to missing a chunk in picture 2. Second, how did Tyler know the reason they interrogated the second person when no info was ever released? So there's an assumption in that second question that we know no info was released, and I don't know if that's true. So I can't answer that. I did not notice the missing chunk, but as bad as that screen cover was, it wouldn't surprise me if a piece fell off while they were handling it. That thing looked decrepit. A high Q outfit, indeed, Joe. Tyler text wasn't there. Reference to a doppelganger. Not in Tyler's text. That was in the Discord chat. I wouldn't be surprised if this photo op happened because he'd be cremated soon after. The feds seem to take and keep custody of the body almost immediately under the guise of helping Erika. That's a good point. It's a very good point. And it has crossed my mind that he never made it back to Arizona as a human, as a corpse. Limping Tyler. He turns left first, not the stairs, and puts his hand on his ear, signals car while turns stairs. Again, car turns around. I noticed that. I picked up on that during the last show when we were reviewing it. It might have been during the comments. I don't know if you're watching, but I did notice that. Hello. Do you think the only reason Ben came out later saying his security was in direct contact with CK was because he was worried his number may be traced? Allergy involved? Allergy. Like he's allergic to a phone call? I speculated openly on this program, I think 2 or 3 times this week, or over the last, whenever that story came out, that is precisely why he got out ahead of it. Because he has either heard or fears that call will be discovered in Discovery. And either it's already been turned over and already been flagged, and they're like, you better get out in front of this. Because there's no way to break that story nicely. You can either eat a small bite of doo-doo sandwich now and say, I was there, my security team was on the phone with his security team, and kind of try to pancake it in another episode and hope nobody mentions it. And then if they find out later, say, I openly admitted that a long time ago. And even if they do mention it, well, it's going to come out anyway. But if it looks like you're trying to hide it, you are toast. You're toast. There's no recovery if it looks like you're trying to hide it. Like the bald man driving the Challenger with 3 passengers. They hid that. Like Tyler Robinson meeting with a TPUSA representative. They tried to hide that. They tried to hide that from you. They did not want you to know these key critical items. That's a lie by omission. All the things we've been talking about on this show, on Candace's show, on Zach Costello's show, on Trigger Smart's show, on Jesse on Fire's show, on Valhalla's show, on Coach Collins' show, on Real Bays, on Danks. All these good creators that have covered all this stuff for all this time. And they didn't mention he met with a TPUSA rep. They didn't mention that the lady who took the Ring doorbell camera footage that they cited in a search warrant said that it was driven by a bald man with 3 passengers. They didn't mention that. Guys, that's not right. There's something very, very wrong with this story. Very wrong with this story. But nothing that would prevent you from hitting the like button. Nothing that would prevent you from subscribing. Nothing that would prevent you from clicking notifications, sliding down and selecting all. Nothing that would stop you from joining the member side if you want to make a small monthly contribution to the effort here so that we can continue to build out the team and the production and do the research and everything that needs to be done. Nothing stops you from joining the program and doing that. All you got to do is click the join button that's right next to the subscribe button. If you want to save $3, get off your iPhone app, go over to a browser, open it up, and click join that way. Save you $3 a month. But guys, I appreciate you spending time with me. I will be back tomorrow night. I have no idea what time. Hopefully it's earlier than it was tonight. But I will be back tomorrow night, and then we'll do a member show Friday. So we're going to have fun. That's going to be a fun show. So if you, I'll do a couple more of these comments. 3 more came in. I'm doing 3 more, and that's it. So if you haven't sent one yet, don't send another one. But if you, or if you do, it's not going to come up on the screen. You're more than welcome to send it. I'll read it after the show. But we've got a good show lined up for tomorrow as well. It'll be good. Funeral home rental suits are backless. Well, that's crazy. I guess that makes sense. You don't need the bag. Probably don't have pants either. Yes, Blake did change where he stayed. He said didn't know, but there was a little drive, ended with where everyone else stayed. That is a lie because he said these people are shameless. These people are shameless. In my opinion, that's a lie. He stated with certainty he stayed in Orem. He was asked directly, where did you stay afterwards? He said, I stayed in Orem. And I think they even asked, I'll have to go back and listen. I think they even asked him, why didn't you go to Salt Lake with everybody else? He's like, I don't know. I have to go back and listen to that. If he changed it, that's going to be a problem. Late to the party, did anyone tell you Jimmy Dore gave you big props on Tucker's show? Much deserved. Thank you so much for all you do. That was like 2 months ago, wasn't it? I did a whole show about how I was on Tucker's show. Not a whole show, but a segment. Yeah, they did. He did. Thank you. All right, guys. Hey, while we're here, Jesus loves you. You know it's true. You know it's true. You can act like you don't know it's true. You can wander through the wilderness of life, but it's true. Jesus loves you. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys mañana.